at you. You look great. Look at you all reared back. She's like the queen on her throne.
All right, we are live, ladies and gents. How awesome.
All right, we are live. I'm going to go tell my team to refresh the page. So
That's right. Everybody needs to refresh the page. If you can, well, I guess if they're not seeing us, they can't refresh the page. Okay.
Look at us. We all started a live hangout, and then we immediately started typing.
And I reckon that's going to go on here for pretty much the whole night because we are working from our own homes and we can do whatever we want to do, right?
That's why I'm just sitting back. I'm just going to sit back and just relax. Let you guys handle it.
How awesome. Well, let me do this. Let me go ahead and at least get the party started. I'll work on my little awesome. And all that good stuff in a second. But my name is Tracy Walker, and I want to just welcome Aaron and Sophia Rashkin, Tony Rush, and Nicole S. Cooper to this super hangout. These guys were gracious enough to take some of their time this evening and postpone their team events to make sure that we kind of came together and shared some nuggets and shared some information from all different areas and perspectives, all related to Empower Network and how we've achieved our various levels of success throughout this program. So Tony, Aaron, Sophia, Nicole, thank you guys so much for joining us on this initiative.
Oh, thank you. This is great to be here.
Tracy, will you miss anything that you do? Come on. I'm not going to miss anything Tracy does.
You know what? I was talking to Tony earlier today, and this is like my first page like design with an embed for a hangout. And you know, I don't know anything about this coding stuff, and so I'm learning as we go. And if anything else, that should be a message to people that you can actually still succeed and not know any of this crap until way down the road. So if I can do it, you know, within a 3-day period, you definitely can do it, right, guys?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
you did a phenomenal job to be a rookie.
You did such an excellent job. I just thought, oh, Tracy's the expert. You know, she got it down.
I did too. Every time I put together a page like this, it's just got like a white background and Times New Roman font. You know, my pages are ugly.
Look at you.
I always say I used to be the guy that counted backwards from 10 to 1 in the gym while other people lifted weights. So I didn't really have too much experience, you know.
Tony and Nicole have the banners going on. You guys are like the experts.
I know. I gotta get my effects going. Sophia, you wait. I'm gonna get it in just a second here. So if I can pass the mic to someone, pass the torch, I'm gonna be working and mute myself so I can type away. But guys, we have done numerous hangouts before, and if you're new to any of our teams, welcome. Maybe this will help you be exposed to somebody else that's in the leadership and maybe pick up some nuggets and learn some things. That is the whole intent for tonight, to just really share with our teams the power of what's working for us now. And we know it's just an informal type of thing. Clearly, I have my hair in a little ponytail bun thing going on. It's nothing fancy whatsoever. I almost put on a hat, actually.
I'm not even wearing makeup. It's all right.
You're not?
No, I'm not even wearing any makeup.
Oh my God. You're just beautiful all the time. Who would have known that?
Thanks.
You're so welcome. So guys, if you want to just take a moment to just jump out there and maybe just talk about the success you've had with Empower Network thus far. Maybe there's somebody that's new on all of our teams that has not had an opportunity to engage in you, or maybe they don't know your story yet. In any format, you can just jump out and share something that is of importance to someone where this is their first interaction with you.
Yeah, I'll jump out and be first real quick. First of all, if you're on mine and Sophia's team, welcome. We are super excited that you guys are here. We have so much to share with you, and of course, if you're brand new, we want to get to know you as much as you feel you probably know us. I know that we attract a lot of friends, fans, and followers all over the internet, and it's funny. I hear a lot of people say, oh, I know who you guys are. You know, we've been following you for months or years or whatever the case might be. And it's funny because there's one of us, you know, there's myself and Sophia, and then there's thousands of all of you. So we want to get to know you. So make sure that you reach out to us, connect to us in our Facebook groups. Make sure that you connect to us, through email. We get on the phone. We do our new member business plan call. And we map out your game plan for success. And that's most important to us, is that we work together as a team. We're humans. We're just like you. We, bleed red, put our pants on the same way every morning. And, there's no difference between us and you. The only difference is that we might have started a little bit sooner than you, but that's good for you because it means that we're going to be able to teach you everything that we know about how to become successful working for yourself, online, working from home, part-time hours. I know some of us only put in like 2 or 3 hours a day, and we make, multiple, full-time income with a part-time effort. And although it's not easy, I'm not going to say it's easy. It's simple what we do. A lot of copying and pasting, a lot of following the leader, a lot of just doing the things that, most people would think are a little bit odd to build a business, but we've figured some things out, and we're going to share a lot of that with you guys tonight. So, we're getting a text from one of our assistants and members, Diane Zidek. She says, "All systems go. The team is rocking." So, anyway, I just wanted to introduce myself, just in case I haven't met, any of the members on our team, or maybe you haven't met Sophia yet. And for those of you that are on Tracy and Nicole's and Tony's teams, what's up, guys? Looking forward to meeting you too in Chicago coming up here in, I think, just 62, 63 days.
Really close.
Time is approaching fast.
Yes, it is.
And I'll just interject here. Hey, everybody, Nicole Cooper, and here out in Memphis, Tennessee. Excited to be on this Hangout with superstars. I think, this is really a privilege to have access to these people. Aaron did an amazing job with sharing the fact that we're normal people, but I think what's different about this panel, when I look around at Aaron and Sophia, Tony and Tracy, guys, is these are people with an attitude of success in every aspect of their life. So I think tonight we'll get a chance to really hear from them, hear what it was, where did their story start? For those of you who don't have the masters, you couldn't hear Sophia and Aaron share their story. So if you really want to get into the minds of these amazing people on this panel and ask, how did you get to 6 figures a month? It's in the masters. But tonight we'll get a snippet of that. We'll be able to get access and be able to hear from them, a little bit about their journeys, how they got here, but also about the mindset and what are some of the commitments that they've made to get their businesses to where it is, guys. Because a lot of you guys that are watching, you have desire to be successful. You might have a vision of where you want to be, but sometimes you feel like you just need a little bit of a correlation to your story. How did you get from point A to point B? So tonight we have an awesome chance to break into the brains of these 7-figure earners, these amazing top 10 earners within Empower Network. So I'm actually here to be the fly on the wall that actually speaks. So I'll be able to ask those questions that a lot of you guys have out there, and I'm excited to be in this network. So thanks for having me. And hey, to all of our teammates out there, we're excited that you guys are plugging in. Make sure you get a pen and a pencil or paper handy so you can take notes, because this is an amazing lineup and you don't want to miss what's going to be shared on here tonight. So I'll pass it on over to you, Miss Beautiful, ravishing, gorgeous, glowing woman without makeup, Sophia Rashkin. Hey, and Tony Sun just...
You look, hey, by the way, you look beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Yes, we've cut, chop.
Yeah, very nice, very
Thank
glamorous. Yeah, guys, you'll probably see our kids kind of pop in and out, and that's, obviously the luxury of having a home business is having them around. And right now we're in the process of getting a new nanny into the house, and so that's quite an experience in itself. But yeah, you know what? Aaron shared a little bit about our story. Actually, Aaron is next door at the other house. We're not even in the same house. He's in the office, which is next door. There you go. You can show a little bit about show a little bit of the office. But that's one of the luxuries, the very fortunate and blessed outcomes of being in this home business. We've definitely paid our dues in the industry, and being here with the Empower Network and just seeing just how many people have cut that learning curve by accessing all the great products and just making money left and right and hand over fist. It's been phenomenal. I mean, if Empower Network was around when we had first gotten started in the industry, I mean, I can only imagine what we, you know, where we would have been able to get to. But certainly, you know what, everything happens for a reason, and you know, timing is everything. It's all about the right timing, but are you the right person also when the right opportunity comes along? So it's not just about timing, but you have to seize the opportunity. And certainly, you know, I'm grateful that Aaron, you know, was the first one to take a look at this. I heavily rely on him and trust him with his knowledge as like almost the walking encyclopedia of our industry, just knowing everything that's going on in the industry, and who's got integrity, who's doing well, who knows what they're talking about, who's living the dream and actually and doing what they say they're doing. And this is why we end up here. And I was very fortunate to just say, hey, I trust totally what you're doing and what you see here. And so I'm definitely along for the ride. And you know what, we came from that traditional MLM industry where we contacted our friends and family, and they didn't want to have anything to do with any of our products, and we did hotel meetings and passed out CDs and brochures to anybody that walked by. Everybody was getting pitched. Hostesses, waiters, waitresses at a restaurant, anybody that could fog a mirror was getting pitched. And you know what, I just didn't even look forward to going out anymore, because I thought, you know what, we can't even go out and have a good time, because I feel like we got to pitch somebody to bring them into our business, and that's not the way that I want to live. And so, you know, fortunately, we have the opportunity to not have to do that anymore. That is so old school, and hey, it works. I'm not putting it down. It was just not for us anymore. So we're very fortunate to be with such an empowering group of leaders that know exactly what they're doing, know how to do it online, and do it so that we can access not just our local market area, but globally 24 hours, 7 days a week, and that we have that kind of leverage. So you know, it's been an incredible ride. This is the most amount of money that we've ever seen in such a short amount of time, and to see people achieving that same thing, and they hardly even know what's going on and how they're achieving this success, but they do know that they got it all in and got all the products and started using them, and then all of a sudden applying some of those skills that they learn. Just money is magically appearing in their account. So it's been fantastic to watch so many people create incredible success in such a short amount of time. So with that,
yeah, and that's no joke, actually, because we have members that literally email us, and you know, they tell us, they say, I'm not sure what I'm doing, but I just had a $4,600 day. One of our members, Jason Brown, just had I think it was a $9,000 day the other day. I think he's just 60 days into his business. And Sophia and I were talking about this over breakfast the other day, and I was saying how, you know, there's really nowhere else you can do this, because if you think about it, in traditional network marketing, you know, like the company that we were with prior to getting online 4 years ago, we got paid $100 when we sold a case of juice. And the average person, you know, bought one case, maybe they bought 2 cases if we were really good that day. And, you know, we would enroll 1 person, 2 people, maybe 3 people a day. So the most we could make in a day, you know, was like, you know, $400 to $600. And here we are in Empower, and we have members that are making $3,000, $6,000, $9,000 in a single day. And it would have taken them years. And this, you know, Jason was on our team in that company, and I don't think he made $9,000 in 9 months. So to be able to do that here, it's unheard of. But again, you have to be all in. You've got to own all the products. You want to make sure you don't leave any money on the table. And Jason is a great student of the business, and he's doing exactly what the 8 core commitments say to do. So thought I'd just throw that out there. One thing I want to point out too, quick, before I'm sure Tony, Nicole, and Tracy want to speak. If you look right over Sophia's right shoulder, and you see our front door, we used to have 30 pairs of shoes at that front door every Friday night, And sometimes on Saturdays too, we would do like a double weekend. We would have like a Friday night, Saturday afternoon type home party. And we would serve our drink, you know, our little, not like real drinks, not the good stuff. We would serve the juice that we were selling, right? The jungle juice. And we had people walking through that door every weekend, you know, 30 to 40 people, shoes everywhere. We had to steam clean our rugs. And I'll tell you what really did it was Sophia was pregnant with our younger son, Legend, who probably just heard his name and he's going to come running right now with his Superman cape on. But we had a lady show up. Sophia was probably like 8 months pregnant with Legend. And we had been doing, you know, we had done probably 35 home parties, you know, in the time she was pregnant. And we had a lady show up in a wheelchair, which, hey, we have people in wheelchairs at Empower Network events. But her husband wheeled her in, and she rolled right through the grease in the street or something, because there were track marks literally from the front door right into our living room next to the sofa. And I think Sophia, that was it. She like threw her hands up and said, "That is it. We are done doing this bullshit. We are getting on the internet. We are going to figure out how to use attraction marketing. We're going to learn how to leverage the internet. We're going to learn technology, and we're going to do it until we get it right." And I'll tell you, it took, you know, several months of many, many hours. You know, we would sit there and just figure things out, because we likened it to the fact that we were going to go to work like our lives depended on it, because quite frankly, they did. We when we got online, our company, our network marketing company, they cut our check. So we had no other income source, and we put ourselves in a do or die situation. And we came out, you know, we were backed into a corner, and we had no other direction to come out but straight forward. And we just put our heads down. We went to work like our lives depended on it, and we didn't come up for air for probably 6 months. And when we finally had our breakthrough month, that was our first $60,000 month, and it hasn't been that bad ever since, really. So it's just been a lot of fun, and I just can tell you that, you know, that front door there, I'm looking at it, I'm saying, man, we used to have shoes lined up at the front door, and those days are long gone. And I can tell you, if you're brand new to Empower Network, whether you're on Tracy, Nicole's, or Tony's team, and I know there are some awesome leaders on Tony's team, and I just want to say a shout out to all of you guys, because, and also on Nicole and Tracy's team and our team, you got the fact that you're here. See, here's what's cool is that we're not here to motivate you. You're already motivated. And how do we know? The fact that you're here right now. You're the next breed of leaders in Empower Network. And by plugging into to trainings like this and events like this, where you can just pick up one nugget of information, it could change your life forever. So I just wanted to share that story real quick. I know all of us have been in the traditional networking and home business arena where we would cold call thousands of leads per month. And I like Tony saying the best, put down that damn phone and pick up the paycheck, baby.
Dude, I was sitting here laughing. I was looking at that picture of Sophia at the front door and listening to that story. Hey, did you ever do the deal, man, where like you know that like if you invite 20 people to come to your house, you're going to get like over 50% of them are going to like not show. So the way you would get them to show up to keep the appointment was you'd call them like that day and say, or the day you invite them, you say, "Hey, would you bring a bag of ice?"
Yeah.
You ever do that?
Yeah, we would do like a potluck
like
thing.
You're
responsible for the Cheetos or something.
Yeah. So it's like an hour before the meeting. They don't really want to come, but God, if I don't come, there's no ice. And then of course, then you have like, and the trick is you actually have everybody bring a bag of ice. So you invite 30 people to your house, 20 people show up, and there's like 20 bags of ice. Yeah, they say, "Hey, I got the ice right here." You're like, "Yeah, just throw it on that stack right there and come on in."
So man. We were told to go pick them up too. They said, "Go pick up your prospects."
Oh yeah, we did that on the hotel deals. You know, where you got to go by and pick up your guests and take them to the hotel.
Money.
Well,
I was driving a Brooklyn.
I was going to say, isn't it amazing how much we had to lie and manipulate and do all those things just to try to get one sale? Because, you know, even if you get 20 people in a room, you might only get one to sign up, right?
Oh, yeah. It's amazing, the shenanigans. And here's the thing, and this is it's kind of interesting. I had a guy the other day. He's actually an inspiring guy. He's an author. And his book was really instrumental. It was really an impact on me when I first got into this profession years ago. But he sent me a note on Facebook the other day, and he said, "Hey, look, this is just my opinion, okay? Take it for what it's worth. I find it really tiring that you spend all your time on your Facebook wall talking about Empower Network, and I get that it's your MO, that the way to build your Empower business is to get everybody to leave their MLMs and come to what you're doing, but it's just a little tiring." And it didn't hurt my feelings. I was a little amused by it, even though this criticism was coming from someone in the industry that I like and respect quite a bit, because there's a couple of things that came to mind. Number one, he actually is the CEO of a company that pulls that BS, who teaches, yeah, tell all your guests they need to bring a bag of ice, you know. So the first thing that came to mind was like, you know, we're not really trying to get people to leave their MLMs. We don't care. You know, Aaron and Sophia have got people on their teams. Tracy does too. Nicole, I do. We've all got people on our teams that are doing something else, and they came to Empower Network because they wanted to learn how to do a better job. They want to be a better marketer. You know, so the first thing that came to my mind was that, well, you know, Richard, if you actually were to have everybody in your company actually start learning some of the stuff we're teaching, you'd probably grow your company by about 10 times in the next 12 months, because you wouldn't have these people running around teaching and doing all this Jurassic Park marketing. But the other thing that it highlighted too is the dynamic of how we show up in the marketplace as entrepreneurs here in Empower Network. And what I think is interesting is that sometimes, and this is not necessarily related to the topic we're all going to be discussing tonight, it was what was on my mind thinking about those home parties. It's interesting how often network marketers particularly are as closed-minded as they accuse their prospects of being. Have you guys ever noticed that?
Mm-hmm.
You hear a networker that says, "I don't know what's wrong with these prospects. They're just all programmed for that 40-year plan. There's a better way. Don't they know there's a better way? I wish they would just listen," right? And they're lamenting that their prospects are so closed-minded that they won't look at a home business. Well, the funny thing is there's a lot of people who are in the home business industry that are just as closed-minded, because they've sold themselves on the idea that you have to have a downline of thousands to make a decent income, that it takes 3 to 5 years to make a decent income. They've sold themselves on the idea that making money is the same as making phone calls. And none of these things are true. None of them are true. So I was having a conversation with somebody over the weekend. It was an email exchange, and they said, this will be kind of part of the topic tonight. I would like to insert this as part of what you can stick in your pocket and take away this evening. And this is just my opinion. I suspect my colleagues on the screen here probably agree with me, but I won't speak for them. The guy was asking, is this one of those get-rich-quick things? And I know what he was asking, okay, in fairness. I know what he's asking. I know that his actual question is this a solid business? Is this going to be around a while? Is this something that I can invest my time and energy in and see a return? You know, is this is not going to be one of those things where the owners leave in the middle of the night and nobody can find the company to. That's what he was asking. But I thought it was interesting that if you actually look at the guy's language, his question had nothing to do with what he was asking. Because what he was asking, is this one of those get-rich-quick things? And used to, my pat answer to that was, no, that's not what we are. But if you stop and think about it, I used to, back when I used the phone, I used to kind of mess with people on this, because they'd say, is this get rich quick? I'd say, well, let's break that down. Can I ask you a couple questions? Do you want to be wealthy, or do you want to be broke? Which one are you aiming for? Everybody says they want to be wealthy. Okay, and would you like that money to show up this year, or would you like that money to show up in 40 years? Well, I'd really rather it show up this year. Okay, so you want to get rich quick. No, I don't want to get rich quick. I'm just asking if this is a get rich quick. Well, and I understand what they're asking. But here's the thing. When you have an organization like ours, when you hear stories like the one that Aaron just mentioned a minute ago, or you see these great stories coming out of Tracy Walker's team, right, or Nicole, or mine, And you got, I'm thinking of Sam, a guy on my team named Sam Crowley. I mean, he passed, I think, the $50,000 mark in commissions. He's been here maybe 90 days. I don't care what definition you want to use. That's getting rich quick. That's making a difference. And I think sometimes we get so bogged down, people in this industry particularly, network marketers, they get so bogged down because they think they know what a home business is supposed to look like, and they don't quite know what to do with us. We don't fit in any of the cubby holes that they have for us. You know, we're not an MLM, really. We're also not quite affiliate marketing. Aaron and I, and Sophia and I, and Jessica, we were floating around a boat in Costa Rica talking about how we're not quite top tier, but it's like you got the automation of affiliate marketing, you got the leverage of network marketing, but you got the big income, the high percentages of top tier. Nobody knows what to do with this. So it's a little amusing to me. Part of the emotional payoff that I get every day in this business comes from being a stand for this opportunity, not having to fit any of the preconceived molds. It's just, we are just a totally different animal, and I know we'll want to segue out of that into something that's a little bit more usable and useful for you guys tonight. But I do think there's a certain mindset that has to be present in this business, and one of them that I find that has served me well in this is knowing who we are, knowing who you are and what you've got your hands on. This is not like anything else out there. So when you stand confidently in what you've got, this animal that we've got here, this Empower network, that's completely different than anything anybody else has ever done in the history of the industry. And we get to be the people to deliver that message. There is so much opportunity for you to step up and be the leader and to lead the charge and to really find your voice in this whole conversation about what it takes to make money from home. So we have these wonderful people who've never been successful doing anything, who are suddenly big, bold voices out there in the marketplace about why Empower Network is the place to be. And if you're not yet part of that conversation, if you haven't yet found your voice and started proclaiming boldly and confidently what you know to be true about this business, that's part of the shift that we want to talk about tonight. Because this hangout tonight is loosely titled, how to get to $15,000 a month. And I'll tell you this, I don't know a single person in this company making $15,000 a month or more who is not doing it through being an effective leader. They're showing up as, hey, I'm the person who knows how to get to where I'm going. I can show you how to get to where you're going. I can show you how to get out of what you're into. And so, and it's so cool when you see people make this shift, because they go from being the guy who's trying to figure it out. And I don't want to hog the airtime here, but let me just make one more quick distinction. Those of you who are on this tonight, you're all in Empower Network, okay? But here's a leadership tip for you. Even if you're brand new and you don't know quite all the answers yet, you're not quite sure of everything, you have to be in your business like the CEO of a business. Okay, the CEO of Google right now, he doesn't have all the answers. He's not 100% confident in every move he's going to make. He knows that there's always a question, right? But the nice thing is that he moves forward anyway. And so all of us on the line, we're all in Empower Network here tonight. But what we're going to invite you to do tonight is to step up and start being the leader, right? And that means being the leader in front of your list, being the leader to your existing teammates. And if you don't have a team yet, what a great time to start being the leader, because people follow you not because of they don't follow you because you've got followers. They follow you because you're worth following. So part of this whole thing of how to get to $15,000 a month, I don't know, maybe it could be done without becoming a true leader, but it wouldn't be sustainable, and it's not the route you want to take. So the route that we want to talk about, in part, among other things this evening, is how you can breeze into Chicago with a whole bunch of jingle in your pocket and have a mental shift in your business tonight during this presentation, that you're going to move from being who you are in Empower Network right now at 9:29, and that when we finish this, you will have the opportunity to step into a completely different possibility in terms of what's possible for you and what your potential is. So I got the best seat in the house because I get to hang out with all these people down here. So I'm a student as well. I can't wait to hear some of my colleagues' conversations on this topic and some of the other stuff we're going to talk about. So thank you guys for being here tonight.
Well, you know, Tony, I think that you're spot on in reference to being that leader. And ironically enough, I took the time today to listen to the two most recent Inner Circle audios that we have. I believe on February the 11th, it was Dave Sharp, and he was literally talking about being the leader and living the lifestyle. And the reason why many people get stuck at certain income levels, whether it's higher ones or lower ones, whatever the perspective is mainly because people around you are not seeing you live the way they would prefer to live. So, you know, Sophia and Aaron were talking a little bit earlier about having all the hordes of shoes at their front door. Well, immediately, if I were a prospect, I would come in and say, I don't want all these people's shoes at my door. So instantly I know I'm not doing this home party thing. Before it even gets started, they don't see themselves doing what you're doing or how you're living. And Dave Sharp went through that process very inspirationally, I would say. Then followed right behind it was Toby, and literally talking about taking massive action. And that's essentially what leaders do. It's really things that we can learn in a 15K, learn from each other, and the speed of implementation. Instead of sitting on the information, instead of, you know, groveling over it and, you know, rehashing it and trying to figure out how we can make it better because we don't think in our minds it's going to work for us, so we resist following the direct instruction and literally just taking the massive action. So, you know, if you're on this and you're on any of our teams right now and you don't have at least the Inner Circle training audios, you are not at the 125 level, you absolutely deserve to log into your back office right now. I believe there's a button right under this video somewhere or around it, depending on whose page you're coming to this on. You need to log in. You need to just upgrade to the Inner Circle because we can go over strategy after strategy after strategy as we've done in the 15K, and what we know, and I would probably think that the other leaders would agree, is that strategy alone will not help you generate the income. It's not a function of strategy purely. Most people think if I just know exactly what Aaron and Sophia, Nicole and Tony are doing tactically every single day, that I can actually change my output. When in reality, the only thing that changes your output is your input. And so if you're not putting in the personal development, if you're not changing the way that you see things, if you're not using the right types of words, and you're not speaking from a place of you know, abundance, and you're not really coming from a place of all that is, but you're focused on all that is not or how it won't work, you will find yourself struggling even with access to all of the perfect strategies that are listed in the 15K. Any of you guys agree with that or disagree with that?
Couldn't agree more, Tracy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I like what you said when you. The thing that popped in my mind when you said, "Hey, you could be doing the exact same thing that the five of us are doing and get different results." I think that's a conversation. I'd like to hear you say more about that because I think there is a huge secret in that conversation that people want and they don't know they want it.
Oh, absolutely.
They think the secret is going to be that super duper secret traffic source that Tracy Walker's got that she's not telling me about, you know, or it's, you know, Aaron's got some special letters in his autoresponder that he's not giving me. But what you're touching on here is actually the secret that everybody wants, and nobody's looking in the right direction. Most people aren't looking in the right direction. They want to see tactics. I keep going. I want to hear more about this.
Well, I mean, I'll give you prime example. There are people that I know specifically on my team that have said to me, now, of course, they don't reveal this until after the fact, but they've said to me that they were doing some type of strategy. And just for the sake of the discussion, let's just say it's Facebook. Okay, so they're doing Facebook, and they're doing Facebook the way that we've outlined Facebook to be, or whatever strategy that the way that they've learned it. However, it wasn't working. and it wasn't working for them for various reasons. However, once they actually just pretty much said, you know what, screw it, I am going to start listening to my trainings. I'm going to start following the 8 core. I'm going to actually read every single day. I'm going to listen to some type of audio. I'm going to do something to help shift my mind incrementally every single day. Amazingly enough, that exact same strategy that they were using suddenly and magically began to work. So me and you, Tony, could post the exact same words on our statuses. We actually could do that. And if one of us did not believe in what we were doing, then we would have very, very different results, because people can sense your trueness, if that's a real word. People can sense whether there's authenticity coming from what you're posting, or whether you are a pitch fest, or whether you are a jumper, whether you're an opportunist in the fact that you're just looking for a way to make some quick money for yourself and get out. People can sense that even through written word. And I know a lot of people don't believe that, but I just think, everything is energy. Everything is energy. And so if what comes out of you, you type it and it goes onto a white background on a Facebook page, that is energy. And when your people read it, they can sense it. The strategy itself isn't really the issue. It's really, as you said earlier, being the CEO, even if you're new, being and taking ownership of what you have, and literally knowing that you're going to stand on it and you're going to stand behind it.
Yeah, these are like the intangibles. You can't really put a price tag on the qualities of a leader. So, everything that Tracy's saying, and kind of what Tony started talking about earlier, it's all about the things that most people can't put their finger on. And I'll give you an example. Tracy's using Facebook as an example. And so a lot of times I get people say, well, I blog every day and I mail my list every day. Well, it's not what you're doing, it's who you're being. It's because we're human beings, not human doings. So the first place that you have to evolve as a leader, and I know Tracy's giggling, and I'm sure a lot of you out there just are getting this. It's how you show up. It's not what you get, but who you become in the process. And it's consistency. It's about keeping the message the same. It's about being the person that shows up in your lead's inbox every single day. And the buyers are not going to write a spam complaint, and when they unsubscribe, they're not going to tell you to go to hell. They're going to actually put your email in a special folder. They're going to create a location in their computer for your messages. They're going to bookmark your blog. They're going to make sure that they check your wall every day to make sure that you're consistent. And as long as you show up every day for your business and you send that message that you're worth following, that you're worth paying attention to, that you're not flighty, that you're not doing 5 different network marketing companies at one time, that you're not pitching everything under the sun, that you are staying focused and you have one goal, and that is to lead other people to success, they're going to join you faster than you know what would happen. I mean, literally, this is why I see Tony, why I see Tracy, why I see Nicole, and frankly, why all the leaders on this Hangout right now, and there's literally dozens of you out there that are making thousands of dollars per day. Between mine and Sophia's team, Tony's team, Tracy's team, Nicole's team, there's dozens of you that are making thousands of dollars per day. And I know if we got all of you onto this one Hangout and we had all of our little heads, there was like the Brady Bunch, like times 5, right? And there's dozens of us. If we asked every single person that's making exceptional income, thousands of dollars per day in Empower Network, right here, just on our teams, every one of them would tell you that they own their business. And I know that sounds kind of odd to hear, because sure, we're all home business owners, but they take full 100% responsibility, accountability, and ownership of their business. I can tell you right now, nobody owns their business more than Tony Rush. Nobody owns their business more than Nicole Cooper. Nobody owns their business more than Tracy Walker. And this is why we have seen in just 14 months the company's been alive? And it's really only been breathing for about 7 or 8. If you think about it, think about how much challenge and how much adversity we've overcome as a company, right there at Dave and Dave's back. If you think about it, we've really only had some consistent momentum for the last 7 months or 8 months, since like say June at the Atlanta event, right, at the Don't Be a Wussy event. And to get to that point, right, to go from, inception, right, where the idea became, a real opportunity and a real system and a real company, it took 7 months, 6 or 7 months of Empower Network really pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and overcoming challenges. And see, the way the company was born is no different than the way you have to born your business. And it's about a constant push, going through the struggles. A lot of it, 98% of your skill set is going to come from your mindset. So if you have that never quit attitude, and it's not even really in your vocabulary to quit, and you just push and you just push and you just push, and you don't say, I wonder if this is working. I hope this works. Let's see what happens. I'll give it my best. We'll go with the flow. These are all words of disempowerment and lack poverty consciousness. And you can only succeed when you know that it's yours. You just have to keep pushing until you can reach far enough out and grab the brass ring. Remember this? Remember on the what do they call that? The carousel. And they had the brass ring. And if you leaned out far enough and you were willing to risk just a little bit of danger, you could actually hook your finger on this brass ring, and if you grab the brass ring, you won this giant, 6-foot teddy bear. And if you're just willing to reach a little bit further, and every day a little bit further, and a little bit further, and a little bit further, eventually you're going to stretch far enough outside your comfort zone that you're going to move into this new place of mindset, and that's what's going to allow all the people that are in your network, that are in your market, whether they're your friends, fans, followers, all the people that you have access to, whether you're generating leads from, just SEO and blogging, or perhaps you're doing paid media, paid advertising, no matter what form it is, these people are going to see that you're consistently reaching out, keeping in contact, making the communication and the connection, and just continually telling the story over and over and over and over again. And as long as you don't quit, I'm going to tell you this. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Those that last always finish first, right? Tony could have quit 10 months ago, right? When his mom got sick and, and she passed and she crossed over, and then, Tracy could have quit when the company stopped processing orders back in December of 2011, right? And myself and Sophia, we could have quit when we got a ton of pushback and a lot of lashback from other top earners in the industry that we happen to be great friends with, that are 7- and 8-figure earners, and they said, what the hell are you guys doing, this internet deal? And I said, guys, you don't know the story, but I'll share. Is it okay if I just take like 2 more minutes, guys, and just share a little bit about what happened? Sophia and I went to Austin back in the summer of 2011, and I knew who David Wood was. I heard his name. We actually spoke at an event together at separate times. I didn't really know him. I just knew him of this curly-haired, MLM guy, and he was just this cool cat, lived down in Costa Rica. And, we wound up becoming, we were like top 10 affiliates for this affiliate product launch a couple of summers ago. And because we were in the top 10, we won a trip down to Austin. Coincidentally, that's where we were just last month. But we won a trip down to Austin, and we went out on this houseboat party. And I found myself floating around in Lake Austin with Dave Wood and Dave Sharp on these, big noodles, the ones that we floated around on in Costa Rica at the Masters Retreat, which was the live event, back in this past summer, right? This $5,000 event plus travel and, all the expenses. It turned out to be about an $8,000 trip for most people. That's our master's course, by the way. Phenomenal. You want that. That is absolutely the pinnacle of all the products here in Empower. So we're hanging out in the river, right? We're floating around or Lake Austin, not the river, the lake. And I happened to float up on Dave Sharp, and I didn't know him, and I didn't know really anything about these guys. And I was like, hey man, what's your name? And he's like, oh, Dave Sharp. We shook hands, and we started chatting and talking, and we spent the next couple of days, really getting to know each other. And when Empower launched, I saw it all over Facebook. I started, getting emails from leaders that had big lists that I was on, and I was like, I don't know anything about this Empower Network. I don't know anything about, 100% commissions. I don't know anything about this, this funnel. I don't know anything about this affiliate product or the viral blogging system. I didn't know a thing about anything, but I knew enough about Dave and Dave to know that whatever they were doing, I wanted to be a part of it. And I told Sophia, and I wound up watching these videos, and I think they were kind of bootleg, Tracy. Maybe I think you and Nicole were there in that hotel room, that musty, stinky hotel room back in Orlando. I guess it was October of 2011, and somebody snuck a video link out, and I watched that thing for 3 hours one night, and I fell asleep in the middle of it. It was like 3 in the morning. And do you ever like wake up in the middle of the night and you have a TV on and you kind of like look at it with like one eye open and you're like, is it? I used to see the American Gladiators. Remember that show, American Gladiators? I woke up in the middle of the night one time when I was in high school and I saw this show, the American Gladiators, and it was like these like cartoon comic book muscle heads, men and women like doing these crazy games. And I remember thinking I was having a dream. Like when I woke up the next morning, I was like, did I dream about this like comic book, superheroes, playing this Powerball game? Well, when I watched Dave and Dave, I woke up the next morning and I was like, did I actually hear them say 100% commissions? I got to go back and watch that again. So I went back, I watched the whole video again. So I spent 6 hours watching these videos, and it confirmed that this was an anomaly. This was, Empower Network was an anomaly. Nobody's ever seen anything like this before. And so while Empower, I'm going to pass it over to whoever else wants to share here. While Empower Network dominates, okay, in the home business arena right now, every one of you watching this Hangout has the opportunity to dominate inside the Empower Network. We're so new. We're so young. We are so fresh. We are just getting started. Even, Tony, Nicole, Tracy, myself, and Sophia, and all the leaders on this Hangout tonight that are making 6, 7-figure incomes, right? We know that this is just getting started. We haven't even scratched the surface yet. And this is why we're standing on the gas right now, because we know that there are thousands and thousands of people who are looking for somebody to lead them into this company. And if you take your business as seriously as we do, and learn the things that we learn, and you own all the information. Right now, if you're not all in, you lack the information that we all have access to. So you have got to own this information so that not only do you not get left behind, because information is power, right? Applied knowledge is power. You got to implement it, but you don't want to leave any money on the table. I can't tell you how many people get upset when they get that you lost a commission. And the best thing is that when you own all the products, your very first sale puts your investment back in your pocket. And so I knew when I saw this on that bootleg video of that 30-person conference that Dave and Dave did in that hotel room in Orlando back in October of 2011, I knew that this was a winner. And even despite the pushback and all the ridicule, right? I'm sure all of you guys heard the story about every opportunity goes through 3 phases, right? The first one is ridicule, right? Or it's actually opposition, right? The first phase of all opportunity is opposition. Sometimes it can even be violent. And there have been some violent attacks against Empower Network. I can tell you right now, there have been hackers, there have been people that wanted to see us fail in the first 30, 60, 90 days. There have been banks, there have been merchant account companies, there have been all sorts of people that are trying to cut the knees off this giant. And that opposition is usually the first phase. The second phase is ridicule, right? They ridicule it and they say, oh, it'll never last, right? And then the third phase is what's called self-evident, right? And we're in that phase now. We've become self-evident. We're not just an internet marketing deal. We're a real company that's got incredible depth. We've only got a year or 14 months of history, but we've got about 14 years of integrity, and that's why we came to Empower, and that's why we're staying in Empower, and that's why we invite you to be a part of Empower with us and play from the top so that you can get to the top. That's the key to this whole business. Play from the top so you can get to the top. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to take a sip here of my water, and just wanted to just throw that out there for everybody real quick.
I want to hear from Nicole on this too, but just something came to mind while you were talking that I think a lot of people miss too. 2 things. You know, a lot of times people say, well, Aaron, I do want you to share with me some certain tactics, or show me how you're marketing. And we all get that. I mean, you know, I love, you guys are like I was. You took thousands of photographs in Austin. You had thousands of conversations. You probably shot hours of video in 5-minute chunks all weekend long, right?
Yeah.
And you know, you always get that question. Somebody's like, so, and I always love the way they do it, because it's almost like they're looking over their shoulder, like, so where do you get the good leads? You know, where do you get tell me if you had to tell me one thing. And so here's the thing. My question usually is, well, first off, are you all in? And, you know, a lot of people are, and a lot of people are not, because a lot of people are playing that game of toe in the water, see how it goes, play it safe. And here's the thing. Somebody's like, well, Tony, tell me how you market. Tell me where you're marketing. Tell me what you're doing. Well, here's the thing. If you're not positioned to earn $500, $1,000, and $3,000 commissions, it wouldn't make any sense for you to market the way I'm marketing. It might not make, depending on the tactic or the method or the traffic source or whatever, it might actually not do you any good at all to market the way I'm marketing, because you and I have totally different businesses.
Right.
You know, so like I made $4,100 today so far. Yesterday I did a little over $6,000. But if you're only positioned to make $25 commissions, you have no business marketing the way I'm marketing. Right. That's why, and there's a reason why a lot of people are like, well, I just don't understand. I heard Aaron Rashkin did this amazing training, and it's in the 15K formula. Why don't they put some of that stuff in the inner circle? Well, the reason why is because if you're only at the inner circle level, it might not make financial sense for you to market those techniques. Whereas if we put that information in the 15K formula product, not only is it you're paying proper value for it, but you're automatically qualified to earn $1,000 commissions just by virtue of the fact that you own that product and are getting that training. So that's one thing. If you're not all in, it might not do you any good to know how Nicole Cooper's marketing, because she may come out way ahead on return on investment. I mean, she may make multiples of what it costs her to run a campaign, whereas you might not even break even because you're only qualified to make $100 commissions. So that's one thing. The other thing, and I don't want to go too far back into the mindset conversation because we've kind of moved on from that, but I do have to highlight, yes, I have lost 22 pounds. Thank you for noticing. I sure have. And the only reason I mention that is because before our webinar started tonight, Aaron said something really nice to me. He said, "Who's this Tony Rush lookalike?" Because whoever showed up for this hangout looks a little thinner than Tony Rush looks, you know. Oh, thank you. So here's the thing. I tried to lose. I thought I was committed to losing weight until I got committed to losing weight. If you had asked me before, when I was trying to, I didn't like how I felt, didn't like the way my clothes fit, I didn't like that when I went to the store to get some new jeans, I was having to buy another size up, right? And I was multiple times over the last 2 or 3 years, I've said, well, I'm going to get thin. I'm going to get thinner. And if you had asked me in that moment, I would have said, yeah, I'm committed to get thinner. And I even went through some of the motions that somebody like Aaron Rashkin might go through. Because you look at Aaron, he's obviously physically fit. So I was going to the gym, and I was doing like an hour of cardio, and I was doing, I was working out, and I went to the bookstore, and I spent a bunch of money on books, and I got me some nice New Balance tennis shoes and some workout clothes. And, I probably didn't give myself an A+ on my eating changes. But I did all of this for like a month, and I stepped on the scales and I'd only lost 3 pounds. And I said, you know what? Man, I just don't want to do it. If I can work as hard as I have, hour and a half a day at the gym and all these eating habit changes and only lose 3 pounds in a month, something's not right. And I got discouraged and I quit. But here's the thing. If you'd have told me at the time, are you committed to losing the weight? I would have said, yeah. Until I got committed. because when I got back from Austin and I saw a few pictures, I'm like, man, that's not look. I'm looking like I'm even a little heavier in Austin than I was in Atlanta. I'm not showing up in Chicago like this. I need to, and something shifted. Something shifted. I don't know. I wish I could tell you where in your brain to go to find the button. Like there's a button that if you'll push it, you will go from being somebody who's trying to get it done to being someone who's getting it done. I love what Aaron said. He said, we're not human doings, we're human beings. See, when I tried to lose weight before, I was changing what I was doing. I was changing what I was eating. I was changing how I spent my time at the gym. This time, I just decided I'm not going to be this person anymore. And it's a subtle distinction, and nobody can probably tell you exactly where that button is in your brain to make that shift. Now, some of you have already pushed it in Empower Network. You're making thousands of dollars a day. I know some of you on the line that, literally you're making thousands of dollars a day. Some of you are like, man, I really hope this hangout with the masters tonight is going to give me a clue. And this is the clue that that Tracy was alluding to a minute ago, and that Aaron mentioned too. Everybody has to find the button in their brain on their own, but I promise you, if you will shift from changing what you're doing to changing who you're being, because here's the thing, I'm not doing any working out. And it works the same way whether it's physical health or quitting smoking or getting a better relationship with your family or making more money. It's all the same template. It all follows the same rules. So here suddenly I've lost 22 pounds in like the last, 30 days. I haven't worked out. I'm not doing any exercise. And I'm probably still wouldn't give myself an A+ on my dietary changes, although I would say I'm being a little bit more consistent. But the difference is not what I'm doing. The difference is in who I'm being. You hear about people who quit smoking. You say, they don't say I don't smoke. They say I'm not a smoker. It's not that they don't smoke. It's not that they've stopped doing smoking. They've stopped being a smoker.
Right.
And I think probably if we went down the line, every one of us would probably have a story about some moment when we had a shift between, I thought I was committed, and then one day I really got committed. And I don't know about you guys, but one of the things that David Wood says a lot, and I agree with 100%, is transformation always takes place in a moment. It may take a few weeks for the results to show up in a noticeable way, like my weight loss perhaps. But the transformation of choosing to be a certain person, it always happens in a moment, and transformation never happens in a time period that takes longer than a moment. It's always in a moment, right? So the beautiful thing is that you'll know it. Like there's a shift, like, I'm committed, until you get committed. And then all of a sudden it's like, man, there's as much difference between who you're being right now and who you're being as it's like walking in a dark room and turning on a light switch. You'll go from someone who's trying to get leads to just being someone who has a flow of leads every day. You'll go from being someone who's trying to get the money thing figured out to someone who wakes up every day excited to be on the journey, expecting another sale to drop in your lap at any moment. And I don't know that I've ever been able to come any closer to explaining it than that, because there's a certain distance that we can go on teaching and training this stuff, and then all of a sudden it becomes your job. You have to pick up the baton and carry it home. All we can tell you is that there is a point. Some of you say, well, I'm committed. Okay, well, let's look at how you're moving, how you move in your world. You say I'm committed to Empower Network? Great, then I expect you to be all in. When people call me up or they send me an email and they say, what can you tell me? I need to get some money going. I need to make some money in Empower. What's the first thing I should do? You should get all in. And if you're not willing to do that, don't ask me for advice. And it's not to be hard, and it's not to make a sale, and it's not to, I'm at a point in my business where if somebody does or doesn't buy their master's program this month, it's not going to really affect my income that much, but it will affect theirs.
Yeah, exactly.
If somebody doesn't get their 15K formula from Aaron Rashkin or somebody on his team, or Nicole, Nicole's not going to lose any sleep over whether she makes an extra 15K formula sale this month, but it will make a difference to the person who chose not to buy it. Because every time that they look at their business and say, I'm committed, there'll be that little whispering voice in the back of their head that says, well, maybe 99%. And the danger there is that, like, if somebody came to me and said, Tony, and look, it's just us here tonight, okay? It's just Empower Network people. Because we've got this income disclosure, and obviously nobody's guaranteeing incomes and things like that. But here's what I would say. I would say if somebody says, hey, Tony, if we do everything that you tell us to do you promise I will get results of some kind? I will absolutely get, I'll say absolutely. 100% guarantee you will get results. But if somebody says to me, Tony, I'm willing to do 99% of what you tell me to do, I can't guarantee you're getting results at all. Because I don't know what 1% you're going to leave out. What if you're going to leave out commitment? What if you're going to leave out those income-producing activities that Tracy talks about? What if you're going to leave out mindset or persistence? Or what if you're going to just say, well, I'm willing to do everything except actually earn the commissions? There's so many variables, but you've got to be committed to the whole 100%. And you're not cheating anybody but yourself if you don't. So two things I think is this mindset issue, this choosing to be rather than just do, and then just showing up and taking ownership of your business, like Aaron mentioned a minute ago.
Yeah, powerful stuff.
I was just, I was really engaged in what you were saying, and I was thinking, when people come to you and say, what is it that I need to do, or how do I get the results, and you say to them, well, you've got to get all in. If I'm completely honest with myself, prior to being part of Empower Network, okay, because I've been all in Empower Network at every level that all in was, okay, as we progressed. But prior to Empower Network, I struggled sometimes in my previous businesses advising people to buy the highest package or to get all in terms of whatever that meant in that company, even if I was also at the highest level. And I know that there are people that are on probably all of our teams that get a little shaky when they have to stand up and lead from the front and literally say, well, you need to buy all the products. Right, you absolutely directing people to spend money, and that ability to be confident in telling someone exactly what they need to do, similar to how a doctor would prescribe some type of medicine for an ailment. The doctor doesn't really give a darn one way or the other whether you go and get it or not. You showed up to the doctor's office complaining about something, so the doctor writes a script. You can go to Walgreens and fulfill it if you choose or not. And once I started to understand that I'm actually in a position to help guide people and allow them to make the decision one way or the other based on their commitment level, well, then they would reveal to themselves at some point, whether they own it or not, that there is either a strong commitment level or lack thereof. And so now, as I've grown personally, even just over the 14, 15 months that we've been here, we talk about how Dave and Dave have grown, how they speak differently, how they behave differently, how their whole aura is different from the way it was day one, and all of us, how we are now. It's really just for me understanding that literally my goal is to share with someone what I've done. Okay, now if you don't want to do it, that's okay. All we can say is that everyone that gets on stage at an Empower event with a check is all in.
Right.
Exactly. That's all we can really say. So if the goal is to be on stage, then you really can't avoid being all in. And I really don't have a problem telling people to get all in. And I really don't feel bad any longer when people tell me that they don't have the money. I don't shy away from that. I've got people who have pawned their cars. People who have literally done everything but still shoot and kill to do everything legally and ethically, of course, to do what they needed to do to be fully vested into the business so that they are positioned financially at a bare minimum to be able to earn and capitalize from every sale that's made throughout the process. I don't have a problem telling people that anymore. And if you're on either of our teams and you're still kind of finicky about letting people know what they have to do, number one, it's probably generally because you're not all in either, right? So when you're not all in, your disconnect, your discord, your dis-ease with telling someone to do something that you haven't done, it literally just eats at you. And so you can't do it. So the first step is that you absolutely have to get all in. You have to make the decision to be committed and get all in. Suddenly that button Tony was talking about, literally you are able to push it subconsciously, I think, Tony, right? Subconsciously you push a button that allows you to go. And now you seemingly attract people who are willing to do what needs to be done to benefit and gain the results that they desire. So I think it's so important that, number one, you do get all in, because there's just no way you're going to make $100,000 a month, 80, 60, 40, 20, trying to do it on a zillion $25 sales. I mean, that's ridiculous. We're not here to work hard. When all these people stand up and they say they're working an hour or two or maybe 3 a day, we're not doing it because we want to sell, the entire neighborhood, the whole city that I live in on $25 sales. We're doing this by being all in, and then maybe making, an all-in sale per month, and then an all-in sale per week, and then being able to make an all-in sale per day. It's the leverage that allows us to work less and make more. Yeah. So I just wanted to throw that in, that, you got to make the shift on your own first, decide. Then suddenly that button gets pushed, and then people just, they magnetize to you.
How many stories do you got? And I'm not going to talk, but I just want a question for all of you. How many stories, frequently, rare, whatever, do you have of people who, like, they were grinding into business at the $25 or $100 level, and one day they said, you know what, just screw it, I'm going to do it. They keep telling me I'm resisting being sold. I see that I'm resisting being sold. Let me just go do it. And then all of a sudden, they come back somewhere within a matter of weeks, sometimes less. Do you guys have a lot of that?
Yeah.
Because I actually have a lot of that. I'm not alone in that, am I?
No, not at all. We get people that send us messages, and they post on our Facebook group, and they say, well, the day after I got my 15K formula, I sold my first 15K, or I sold my second, 2 15Ks one day later. Yeah. And all it takes is just one sale to get your investment back, and you own that information forever. And every time it's updated, you're getting the freshest, most cutting edge and on-time information. And I don't think a lot of people know this, but and this started out, I guess, after the company was only about 3 or 4 months old. Dave and Dave approached a lot of the top earners, and they said, "Hey guys, look, you guys are blazing the trail for the whole company." And I think Tracy was actually in the very first 15K formula. She was like the first, lead off, trainer for the first 15K. That was about over a year ago that 15K formula was recorded. And they said, hey, will you open up your computer and show everybody what you're doing, every move you make, every word you type, underline, every tag you make, every blog, every single thing from top to bottom. Can you show us what you're doing and how you're making so much money so quickly? And that product became the 15K. Well, about 3 or 4 months ago, Dave and Dave got a chance to take a deep breath after they'd been down in the trenches, building the company with us for the last year. And they said, hey, guys, you know what? The industry's changed. The financial landscape's changed. The market's changed. The company's changed. So can you guys redo your 15K formula, but keep it the most current, up-to-date product information, information you can? And so there we go again. We re-recreated the entire 15K formula. So you don't just get one 15K formula, you get 2. And even if some of the information is a little bit outdated, most of it is evergreen, meaning that it's still applicable in today's market. But the new stuff in the 15K, best stuff on the internet by far. Most chock full of value product. And we've been a part of a lot of different products over the years, myself and Sophia, but I can tell you there's nothing better than the 15K formula, except for obviously the master's course, because it teaches you how to scale your business up from 0 to your first $10,000 a month, right? That's the first level of scaling that you're going to focus on. See, you right now, if you're brand new, or if you're just getting started in your first 30, 60, even 90 days, your focus is going to be on different things today than they will be when you're making $10,000 a month. Now, we're not going to guarantee you that you're going to make that money, but by owning this product, and you know, when you do the right things, you get results. So when you follow the training and you do the work and you implement it and you stick to the formula and you stick to the plan, when you reach $10,000 a month, you're going to be focusing on different things than when you were at zero. And when you go from 10,000 to 25,000, you're going to be doing different things than when you were in the beginning on your first 30, 60, 90 days. And as you scale up, as you grow your business, and as you have more income coming in, and you have a bunch of new team members, and you start really leading the way for your own team, you're going to be focusing on different things. I always use our awesome assistant and personal assistant Danielle. She's mine and Sophia's assistant. And she reaches out to our members before we get a chance to speak to them. She emails them a welcome letter. She contacts them over the phone. She schedules a new member business plan call for us. And see, when we were making $3,000 a month or even $5,000 a month, we couldn't afford to pay Danielle yet. So we just got real busy and stayed focused and did the work and continued to grow ourselves and our businesses. And when we reached $15,000, $20,000 a month, Danielle came on board with us. And now she does a lot of the things that free up mine and Sophia's time so that we can really do more things that put more money in all of our pockets. So it's been a tremendous help to really learn from that master's course. And we were all down there in Costa Rica back in August, and it was by far one of the most powerful events content-wise, and they captured it all on video. And that's the master's course. And for what I think is worth about $35,000, you can get it for a one-time $3,500. And when you make your first sale or two, you get all that money back. You get the entire investment back, and you're qualified for master's commissions at $3,000 for the rest of your career here. So powerful, powerful stuff. Real important to be all in game. Play from the top. Own everything. Don't lack any information. Own all the information. Know exactly how to build this thing, and just get to work. Be a great student and implement right away.
I'm gonna get a cup of tea. I'm still listening.
Well, I just kind of wanted to interject because there was a couple of things. You guys have hit some amazing points, and I just want to thank you guys for all of the nuggets, the wisdom that you guys are sharing, because I think a lot of times people are, like you said and Tony mentioned, they're looking for the secret, and they don't realize that the secret is right underneath their nose, and the secret is following directions and listening to the mentors, listening to what people are saying. But there's something that I wanted to point out, because I know we've been talking about the kind of income that we can earn. I mean, Aaron, you just shared a good nugget. You hit 15 to 20 grand, and then you went on ahead and invested in that so that you can leverage your business. One of the things that a lot of people don't realize, and Tony started off talking about how we all have a background in network marketing, and we've tried different things to get to a certain level of income, but we worked like, it was just crazy. We worked like slaves. I mean, we worked 14-hour days prospecting, going to gas stations. I was the same thing. I was actually charging my credit card. I remember we were on the brink of losing everything when I was in real estate. We had accumulated property, and I thought that I was going to be a miniature Donald Trump. I had a goal of accumulating 25 rental properties a year because I was reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and, playing Robert Kiyosaki's game. And I knew that monopoly was the real way to make money, where you have the 4 red houses and the 1 green hotel. And so I was investing all this money in real estate in 2005, and then the market collapsed. So, at that time, and Tracy remembers, she was in real estate too, but when you're used to making 30, 40 grand a month, 20 grand a month, like we were in real estate, your expenses are really high. So when the market was collapsing, out of panic, I joined a network marketing company because I was hearing the people in the front of the room talk about these. They didn't really tell you how much they were making. That's the thing about a lot of these companies. They don't tell you how much they're making. They just make it sound like they're making a lot of money, right? So you follow in their footsteps. You see what they're doing. you do what they're doing. And I personally, I'm a go-getter. Like, I'm like, tell me what I need to do. If you are the top earner in the company, I see you traveling from from city to city, hosting presentations and doing all these things. I'm gonna do what you're doing because I want to get there. And I remember paying for plane tickets, paying for rental cars, paying $600 to be at the LAX Sheraton by the airport for a room that only my family showed up to, had, you know, different food and things delivered, spending all this money because that's what I saw the hot shots doing, all for me to barely make a couple $100, you know. And so when I look at that now compared to what we have, because Tony, you hit the nail on the head when you talked about, you know, when these guys, if they only followed in our footsteps and did what we did, how their businesses will go to another level. And guys, I want to bring to your attention, they recently, I'm not sure who created this, but the other day there was a top 100 earners income that came out for the industry, and it covered, you know, the home-based business industry. And for Empower Network to only be 14 months old, we had 4 people on there, which Tony was one of them on that chart, along with Lawrence Tam, Dave Wood, and Dave Sharp. And I'm bringing that up because, guys, there's 100 people on this list, and if you go through and you look at these different companies, and a lot of us know the people on there, they've been in this industry for 20, you know, 15, 20 years. The company's been around for years, and they've worked their tails off to even get on that list. For us to have only 14 months in existence and already have 4 people in the top 100 in the industry, I call that a clue. When we talk about making millions and making money, this isn't some delusional concept that we're just feeding you as far as BS in hopes that you do what you need to do so you can make the person at the top money. This is literally people coming in and earning 5 figures within their first couple of months of being in the business because they come all in. There's something that I wanted to share with you guys, because we're covering some really powerful stuff tonight about mindset and about leadership. This is one of my favorite books. This is called The Millionaire Fast Lane, okay, by a guy by the name of M.J. DeMarco. And what's really cool is that in this book, he talks about being a millionaire, and he has like this little chart, right? Y'all see that chart? You may not know what it is. This chart talks about why working in the slow lane, which is the job, why doing things the alternative way is basically a waste of time. So he goes in and he talks about your time suckers, right? And he talks about jobs, and he says, you know, to trade time is to trade your life. For most people in certain professions, you know, it takes a certain amount of education, it takes a certain amount of time, it takes a huge investment of their lives to get to a certain level of income. So on here, he has things like architects, software engineer, pharmacist, physical therapist, veterinarian, and he talks about what their annual salaries are. Then he goes on to share how long it will take for them to actually earn a salary. Their salaries add up to $1 million. And then he tells you how long it will take for them to save $1 million. One of the top ones he has in here is an architect. An average income when he wrote this book was $64,000. He got this from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. So this is an accurate number. Architect, $64,000 a year. The amount of years it takes to earn $1 million, it will take them 16 years at a salary of $64,000 a year to earn $1 million. But to save $1 million, it will take them 156 years, okay? 156 years. I can go down the list. Bartender, 625 years to save $1 million. A software engineer, 125 years. A pharmacist, 105 years. Guys, this is reality, right? When you hear the concept of a millionaire, and then you start thinking, well, what can I do to become a millionaire? Most of us are here because we say the 8 words. It has to be a better way, or however many words it is, five words. There must be a better way. We're all looking for the better way to make something happen. Now, if you guys are anything like me, I'm from Los Angeles, California. I grew up where I had access to success. I grew up in Hollywood. I grew up seeing celebrities. I grew up driving through Malibu, through Pacific Palisades. I was really good friends with Whoopi Goldberg's daughter. She had a nanny. Dolly would take us around. We would spend time at their houses. We had access to all these celebrities. And only real way that I can think that people made that kind of money was being a celebrity. And so I thought, well, maybe I should be an actress, or I'm almost 6 feet tall. Maybe I should be some kind of an athlete that makes millions of dollars. And the more and more I began to experience life, I realized there's other people who aren't celebrities that make millions. And in me was a hunger to discover, what do these people do for a living who live like this, who live on the cliffs of Malibu, but they're not on TV, they're not singing on records, they're not, doing anything in the entertainment industry. What do these people do for a living? And I will tell you, they don't do this. They're not the architects or the engineers or the pharmacists. They actually are the ones that may hire these people, but they're not that. And when you start thinking about, well, how do I start my own company, or how do I become an inventor? Because this guy came across a guy who was driving a Ferrari when he was a kid, and the guy who drove the Ferrari said he was an inventor. Well, some of us aren't creative enough to create stuff. We can't come up with a David Wood kind of mindset to say, I'm gonna do this kind of compensation plan, I'm gonna put this kind. We don't have the mindset to probably create that, and neither will we actually invest the time. So here it is on a silver platter. They've given us the millionaire fast lane. They've given us the millionaire fast. I'm a book buff. I got books all around me. I have a library. This is my library upstairs, so you see my bookshelf full of stuff. I have books all around me trying to find the secret. This is one called The 6-Figure Second Income. I can go on and on and on about all the books that I've bought. No matter how many books I've purchased and how many things I've read, nothing has never been already prepackaged and came to me on a silver platter and said, listen, you don't have to take your time. You don't even have to invest the money in the company and trying to hire the programmers and hire the developers and get the staff in place to create the income that you want. We're going to give this to you packaged and licensed for you to go out and resell, and you can earn 7 figures in 1 year. All you have to invest is $51.25. When I tell you all the things that I've researched McDonald's franchise. I have tons of friends. I have the friend whose dad is the regional, on the regional committee of selecting whether you will be able to even be considered for a McDonald's franchise. We're best friends. We went to college together. He now owns 4. I went through that whole process with him with McDonald's University. I researched the Subway, the Quiznos. I've been out here grinding. I have friends that own Liberty franchise agencies, and Liberty Tax Services, own 5 different ones. What he makes in 3 months with 5 Liberty Tax Services, I make in Empower Network. I don't have to work hard. I don't have to have employees. I don't have to go through the franchising system that he had to, the training. I didn't have to give him no royalties to any company for that franchise. What I'm trying to tell you guys today is this. Listen, if you've been at that point where you're saying to yourself, what do they do for a living and how can I get there? This is as easy and as quick as you can get to success. I'm telling you, we've all been down a pathway of trying 1,000,001 different things, and never have we found something this practical, this simple, this duplicable that you can implement and simply invest $5,100, y'all. Listen, if you go and look for a franchise right now, the minimum is 10 grand, okay? And that doesn't guarantee your income. Once you spend the 10 grand, now you got to deal with getting commercial space. You have to get employees. You have to deal with taxes. You have to, the list goes on and on if you think you want to start a business and make $1 million. You become a slave to most of these franchises. And I can show you 1,000,000 articles where people are complaining about it. Just read the E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber, and you'll discover what it takes to run a business and how many people who think, oh, I'm good at baking, let me start a bakery. Well, guess what? You become a slave to that bakery. You become a slave to that idea, and you basically invest your thousands of dollars, compromise your entire family for the sake of chasing after ideas that don't necessarily calculate to profit. So when it comes down to where we are and what we do, and the fact that we have four people on the top earners list in the home-based business industry, and that is huge compared to the companies that's been around. Like Amway is the #1 company, the earners from Amway, but they've been around for what, 40, 50 years? And we only been around for 14 months. Listen, this is no conversation about investment. This is not, are you an entrepreneur? Are you hungry? Are you serious? You know, I heard Tony say, somebody was like, why don't they give us the information from the masters in the inner circle? Are you serious? Like, are you really serious? Are you willing to invest? And I was going to say this other point, and then I'll pass this over. But listen, he mentioned this. I'm a big fan of the Millionaire Fastlane because I want to get rich quick. I don't care what other people think. I do want to get rich quick. I want to get wealthy really, really fast.
Well,
I
you
don't
are.
want to. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. Who wants to be 60? And that's what he talks about. By the time if you plan your wealth where you just think you're going to invest in certain things and you're going to retire at 65 and finally enjoy your life, most people have health issues and don't want to travel, can't deal with certain things. I mean, I want my wealth now. I know you guys want your wealth now, right? You want to live now. Who wants to wait till 40 years from now to actually enjoy your income? I mean, let's get serious here. But one of the things that he said was this. A lot of us, we all desire to be mentored. I think a lot of people who buy into this company with us, and Aaron and Sophia, Tony, Tracy, I'm sure they're like, well, I paid my $25. When are you going to get on the phone with me and tell me what I need to do, right? They feel like that $25 investment is their ticket to access to you, for you to give them the personal hands-on guidance. But what we've learned, and they always say leaders are readers, when you get access to books, when you get access to products, I mean, I got products all around me, stuff that we bought. I even have my own products that I've made. Woohoo! But when you buy these different things, what's happening is you get access to that mentor's mind. And it's like they're sitting down with you, having a conversation over coffee, telling you exactly what it is that you need to do. Now, the difference in that is that you have to be responsible for the information that you retain. And what happens in this environment, guys, is you have multiple mentors, and they all come in the form of master's course, 15K, Costa Rica, Inner Circle. And they sit down with you every day, all day at your convenience, whether you want it at 2 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and they mentor you and tell you exactly what it is that you need to do. Guys, that in and of itself is the greatest value that you'll ever get on your roadmap to success, because now you're getting into the brain, you're getting the blueprint, you're getting the insight. But the greatest influence over your success is going to be your decision making. It's going to be what you implement. It's going to be what you act on, and it's going to be what you execute. Because a lot of us have great ideas. A lot of us have big dreams, but very few people execute on it. And I'm going to share this one thing, and I'm going to close it out. I don't want to be hogging either. But tonight, I was in a Macy's or a Dillard's, whatever the store was. And this guy comes in there, and he's talking to the sales rep at the counter, and he said, I just got in from Canada. I went to Canada and Brazil and Mexico in 8 days and had a good time. So we start talking like, wow, how do you go from Brazil to Canada to Mexico? What climate changes? I mean, how do you do that? So I mentioned to him, I said, well, take me with you next time. So he laughed. And I said, well, what do you do for a living? And he said, well, I'm a pilot. I'm a pilot for FedEx. And I said, oh, that's awesome. I said, that's exciting that you get a chance to get access to go to these different places and all this stuff. And we start talking. So he went on to tell me, he said, well, let me tell you something. He said, I used to be a pilot for a private jet for a CEO of a company. He said it was a $35 million jet. And he began to share with me the experience. He said it's nothing like sitting there and everything's orchestrated. He said when the limo would pull up, automatically the door falls down. And when he would get on that last step, automatically, he said the minute we heard his seatbelt click, I would click the first button to get the engine started. He said everything was so rhythmic with this powerful person that everything was a system. He said to see the lobster rolling in, and he started talking about this experience about being on a private jet. And I said, well, wow, what did that do for you? So he said, what it did for me is it showed me, he said, because he talked about how much this guy earned. He earned about $15-20 million a year. And so he began to tell me the company, and I didn't know the company name. He said, what I learned was this. He said, success doesn't come from the big things. He said, success comes from the small little opportunities that come across your lap that you act on. He said, the company that this guy owns is the company that is behind every switch that exists, almost every switch. When you turn your light switch on, they're behind it. He said any switch on your, like if you press a button on your computer, he said anything that is associated with a switch, that's what this company is. He said, so here it is, you think it's a simple concept that somebody came up with, and now he's in a private jet. And guys, let me tell you, You may not be able to come up with the concept of a switch, but Dave and Dave came up with it in Empower. That's why it can't be defined. That's why it can't be, people can't identify what it is. People are scared of it because it looks like something that, oh my gosh, like where did this come from and how is this going to work and where is it going to go? They've come up with this concept that is literally going to have ton of us on jets. That's their dream, to have us on private jets and having that experience. And what was empowering me tonight when I was talking to that guy, because these girls who were behind the counter as retail reps were just like, oh my gosh, wow. And me on the other end, I told him, I said, you know what, I can't wait till the day where my private jet is pulling up and I'm hopping on. And he turned around, he said, well, what do you do for a living? And I told him, but he was shocked that I had that level of approach about a private jet and wasn't intimidated by the fact that this man is on a $35 million jet who's owner of this company, and I look like I'm in t-shirt and jeans and probably don't even have a job. But I had the mindset. That's because we have the access to the Aaron and Sophia Rashkins, the Tony Rushes, the Tracy Walkers. Guys, access is where it's at. Exposure makes all the difference. When you look at people's lives and those who have a different level of outcome and they're massively successful, and those who stay in a certain community and they never leave that community and they've been stuck there all their lives and they don't know anything but that community, the difference is simply exposure. And when you invest your money into this company, it grants you access. It's like that sign that says access granted, and then the doors fly open. Your life, your dreams, everything now becomes access granted, where you potentially, now you can convert every dream you have into your reality because you get access to those that can help manifest and make that happen. So I just wanted to share that. I was down here writing different notes as I'm hearing everybody talking. I'm like, you know what, guys, it's really time to stop talking about you don't have the money. That's not a conversation anymore. You guys are in Empower. You know, we're at a point now where we've done enough mindset, we've done enough personal development, we've done enough explaining and convincing that this is powerful. It's at a point now where, do you want it? Or don't you? If you say you want to be a doctor but you can't afford med school, guess what? You'll never be a doctor. It's a matter of making a choice about where you want to be in your life and stop living in your fears, stop living in your limitations, and take advantage of the access that has been granted to you by these people who pour out their brains, their hearts, their time. I mean, you know, we all have kids. It's 9:30, 10:30 Eastern time, and we're spending it with you because you have access granted, but you cannot masterfully take advantage of it until you literally invest in the product that will now give you the access to the income. So that's all I want to share.
I think we can wrap up right there. I mean, that was all I need to hear. I'm going to sign up all over again. That was good stuff. I'll tell you what. What was that?
I said nobody has anything to say now. We can just shut it down.
I was going to say, send me your link, Nicole. I'm ready to get all in.
I want to buy something.
I got my credit card's burning a hole in my pocket right now.
I have this
buy that Facebook course.
Look, it's 3 years old and none of it works anymore because it's all outdated. But if you want to donate some money, I'll send you a product.
You know, funny thing about products, I had a guy inbox me on Facebook the other day, and he goes, and he's a part of Empower, and I know that it's just a part of the shift, so I'm not picking on, I won't say your name, but you'll know who you are. And he goes, well, listen, Trace, do you have that blogging product that you created? Because I think I want to be able to offer people a real detailed way on how to blog, even if they don't want to promote Empower. And I had to think for a second, and I said, well, why would you want someone to buy a product that's 3.5 years old to learn blogging when Empowered Network is a blogging platform that if they were to simply just do at least the inner circle in Costa Rica, they would really learn some things about blogging that are more up to date than a more expensive product that's out of date. Why would you want to send somebody outside of Empower? They don't have to be an affiliate. They could just be a customer.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he goes, oh, thanks, coach. and that was that. So, guys, also keep in mind that, you know, we understand not everybody is going to be the person that looks at this as being a financial vehicle for them right away. All right. For many of us, it is. But some people can actually come into Empower Network into our platform as a pure customer, and they could leverage these skills in their careers that they're in. They can leverage these skills to assist in, books that they've written on how to market them. They could go and become a consultant for some Fortune 500 company, where these companies are paying big dollars now to have people teach them how to do social media and actually how to efficiently and effectively market online. The skills that can be learned here at Empower Network are not just for Empower Network. And that is the beauty of it, that come hell or hot water, God forbid, if Empower Network was to crash and burn right now, there's not one person who shouldn't be able to walk away from the ashes with a greater level of skill than they did before they got there, to then be able to pick up where they left off and keep moving, dust themselves off, and be able to make money online. I'm that confident in our products that you need to have them. Your online business, whatever it is, depends on it. We just choose to leverage Empower because it just makes the most financial sense of anything that we've seen thus far. But don't sleep on the trainings and the lessons to be learned here. Get in your products, study them, and start implementing.
I want to add to that, because I actually, and I shared this, a couple of times on our calls. I actually had a friend, her company, the way that it works is they do referrals. They ask for internal referrals for certain positions. And so she reached out to me and she was like, Nick, they have the purpose. They actually just created this position. And this is an international company. She's flown to India to do training. She's been all over the world, basically. And she was like, you will be the perfect person. You can be a key person, blah, 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 blah. And it's a social media architect. And it was starting off at $140,000. And she was like, I have everybody in my phone right now that can get you this position. And she was like, I just want you to think about it. And I was like, it's nothing to think about. She was like, but you can work from home. You can, as long as I think it's like 100 miles within their company's next office space. And I was like, listen, I appreciate that, but I make that and then some already from home without having to check in and have somebody regulate my time. But I know a lot of other people that need it. And what that did is it got me to thinking about what it is that we do. I think, for me, this is a no-brainer because, guys, listen, if you go right now and you go and you look up Full Sail. Full Sail did a huge marketing campaign where everywhere you went, they kept having pop-ups and banner ads and everything everywhere. And it's a great school for entertainment and things like that, but they actually just incorporated a social media degree. And I had several people that I knew in this space that went in and applied for the school. It was $40,000 for 1 year. And then they went and took the course and put themselves in some serious debt trying to take this course, and came back to me and said, Nick, what's crazy is everything they're teaching we already knew. And he said that stuff was so basic that I could have taught the course. And I was like, yeah, there you go. Stop running from where you are, trying to chase something and make it very complicated. Guys, listen, here's the difference between network marketing and internet marketing, because a lot of people want to categorize us as network marketers. And we're not network marketers, but Tony did a great job illustrating the whole different various aspects from affiliate to there's certain segments of the industry that is out there, but we really don't have a title. When you look at network marketing, the thing about network marketing is you pay your money, you join a company, and you become a sales rep for that company. And so your whole devoted interest is in being a sales rep to do two things. You sell their product and you sell their business to other people. What happens in most companies, however, is that you might become at the top of the company. I've been there, and several people in here, we've been at the top of that company. But if anything happens to that company for any reason, or they don't like you and decide they want to snatch your check, they boot you. When you leave, you have a garage full of products that you can sell on eBay or Craigslist, but you take nothing with you. You have to start from scratch wherever you go, because all you were a sales rep for their product and their company. When you get into internet marketing, the difference with what we do is you're developing a skill. This skill it can be marketable anywhere. Like Tracy said, you can have a career, you can become a consultant, you can become a speaker, you can become a trainer, you can write books, whatever you want to do. This content you have is so powerful because it's the emerging trend of demand for every business. Marketing gets every business connected to their customer, every product in the hands of the consumer. And so when you talk about being able to be an asset, when you call yourself wanting to become successful and become wealthy in life. People who are wealthy have intellectual value, intellectual property. They have in this brain something that they can share with the world that people are willing to exchange money for, whether it's an idea, whether it's a service, whether it's just speaking. People will exchange that because they see something that you have that they want, and they'll keep paying you for it. I had a guy get on the phone with me yesterday. He said, Nicole, I could set you up right now and you can make $100,000. You can do $100,000 seminars for major corporations, and I can show you what you can cover, you know, because of what we know and because of what we share. And even tonight, I'm a mentor over a startup group here in Memphis, where I'm the marketing mentor, and I show them how to take their startup companies and put it into the marketing space. So I'm talking to all the different people who are in this process, and they're telling me what they're doing. And I was like, well, have you tried doing this? Have you tried doing that? Well, you can do this, this, and that. And they're like, oh my God, can I get your number? I would love to talk to you. Please. Oh my God, this is amazing. You're awesome. And I'm like, this is the stuff that I got out of the master's course. I got this out of 15K. Like, thank you very much. I'll take the credit, but that was Aaron Raskin's idea. That was Chuck Marshall's idea. That was Tony Rush's idea. And that's what I'm saying. When you access what we have as an internet marketer, guys, listen, Empower is the icing on the cake because you earn while you learn. You're going to make money while you're developing the skill, while you're building up this asset, while you're building up your intellectual property that is going to carry you through the next phases of your life to develop multiple streams of wealth. And so when we talk about what Tracy was saying, you know, this is a skill that really is going to help you. If you're trying to get a job right now and you went in for a job interview as an administrative assistant or a marketing person or any role in that company, I'll tell you how to get the job. Sit in the job, and they might ask you all the questions. What do you think are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What can you bring to our organization? And you basically show them, you can tell them, well, hey, have you been able to connect with your customer by using social media for free? What if I showed you how to cut back on your advertising budget and immediately access the people who are going to buy your product by doing it for free through social media? They'll just stare at you. Be like, well, tell me more. How do you do that? And I bet you out of everybody that goes through that interview process, who's going to be memorable? You are. They're going to say, that kid right there, it interests me. I need to get a hold of them and talk to them more about what it is that they're doing. Because you're now an asset to their organization. You're now able to actually increase their bottom line and save them money, where they don't have to spend advertising dollars for billboards or magazine ads or yellow pages ads, because you can show them how to whip up a Facebook fan page, get more likes, and run some sponsored ads, some sponsored posts, something you snagged out of the 15K. So that's it. I'm sorry.
You know, guys, I want to just ask any of you to respond to this. We've got, and I'm going directly from our comments page, and I think this would be a great one to pull out because this is indicative of what we're saying all the time that we always get. And so here's the question. Anyone feel free to jump in with what you think. He goes, I'm listening, and all that is more like motivational speech. I do not need motivation. I am all in and ready to make money. But so far, it is not working as I was hoping. So, okay, this is prime example. You know, people are saying that they don't need what we're given, but what we're giving is what we know that they need. How do you respond to that?
Well, first of all, right away, he said the word but, which negates everything that he says before he says but, right? So he's all in, and then he says, but it's not working. And then he puts out to the universe, and hey, we all do this, you know. Sometimes I mean, I do it too. Very conscious of what I say, and sometimes things come out, and then I got to retract and think about what I said. And Aaron, you know, makes me very accountable for what I say. But he puts the word "but" out there, and he says it's not working. There, he just negated. I mean, that's great that he got all in. And how about changing that, shift that phrase to saying, I'm working on it, and it is working, and it's working for me. I'm going to be I'm making my first sale here, you know, in the next whatever, and put a deadline on it. So that slight shift of how he phrases something, that's the difference between someone that is making it happen and making the income, living the lifestyle that they want, what they came here for, versus somebody that, yeah, they threw their wallet and some money into it, but then their language and what they're thinking are very contradictory to what all of us are doing.
Yeah. Language is a big clue of where somebody's mindset is. And by the way, I saw the comment on here too, and I want to just go ahead and acknowledge this person, Vladlin, I think is the name. Anyway, thank you for posting this, so that way let's have a useful dialogue about this. I love what Sophia just said, because language is such a great clue to where our heads are. The other thing too is I think a lot of times people, they are caught up in only measuring one thing, their sales. So you talk to somebody that says, I've been in Empower Network for 3 months and I just don't have any results yet. I'm like, really? You don't have any results at all? No, I haven't made a single sale. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, hold on a second. Sales are just one form of results. They are the ultimate form. That's where we're all going. But you haven't learned anything from the products? Oh, yeah, the products are great. Oh, so you did get some results. Are you a better communicator? Well, yeah, I've learned a lot about, I went through Aaron's thing in the 15K, and I went through Tony's thing in the 15. Yeah, I really have learned a lot. Oh, so you do have results, But here's the distinction. Like when I wake up in the morning, let me go back in time for just a moment. Before I was successful financially, I had already decided to be a successful person. So even though I didn't have the financial results, I got up every morning and I chose to be a successful person. You have to be before you can do, and you have to do before you can have. So I would wake up in the morning and I would go ahead and move through my day as would a six-figure income earner, whether I had the results or not. Now be careful here, because if you think I'm talking about fake it till you make it, I'm not. That's something totally different. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about acting as if. I'm talking about moving in your business as someone who's got the result, and moving in your business in that confident kind of way. So like there's two different kinds of people in this profession though. You've got some people that say, well, I just ran this ad and it didn't work. And they immediately go into some kind of weird self-diagnosis mode where they're examining their belly button and they're trying to figure out why this one ad didn't work. And when you talk to these folks, you kind of get the sense, they don't say it out loud or consciously, but you can tell that all of their questions and confusion and frustration stem from the question, am I going to continue? Am I going to keep going? Is it time to give up yet? Mm-hmm. Now, they don't recognize it themselves because you can't see it when you're in it. But see how Sophia just picked up on this particular bit of language? Somebody who's outside the situation can spot it like that. And those of us who have been through this, have fought that battle and won and have arrived at a nice income, we can spot it a mile away because we used to at some point probably struggle with that ourselves. So when people say to me, well, it's like, well, I've done all this, but I'm not getting results, what I hear them saying is, I'm thinking about giving up. I'm not sure if I want to press on. And just like that, they have actually already made the mental mistake that's going to create another week of struggle. But see, when I got this, and I struggled for a long time before I hit traction, but here's how I got the traction. I stopped deciding whether or not I was going to continue or not. I made one decision. I decided I'm going to be a home-based business entrepreneur, and I don't care how long I have to struggle to make it happen. So when I would run an ad that didn't work, I didn't have to question whether to run another ad or not. I just ran another ad. I ran 2 more ads. If you run an ad that bombs, you run 2 more ads. If you call back then in the old prospecting days, you'd call a prospect that wasn't exactly thrilled. Some people would say, well, I need to work on my script, and they'd go get in front of the mirror. Not me. I just called somebody else. I didn't care. I didn't come from this internal position of trying to decide whether or not I was going to continue moving forward. Now, I'm not trying to make any particular prediction about what this person had said in the chat, because I don't know them. And because this is a group conversation, our answers necessarily have to be a little bit broad, because we don't know that story. Now, if we could all get on the phone with that individual one-on-one and find out some details, I guarantee you there's probably 1 or 2 little things that need to be tweaked. It could be, how often are you mailing your list? What are you mailing your list? How often are you advertising? How many leads do you have coming in? Are you putting a call to action in your emails? Are you inviting people to the Monday night call? Are you hosting a team call? Are you participating in a team call? I mean, there's a million things we could ask, and probably within 3 minutes we would diagnose where the bottleneck is in this person's business. It's never more than just one or two things, right?
And the other thing too is implementation, Tony, because a lot of people that say they're all in, it doesn't just, it means that they own all the products, and that's great. They have a large income potential. They obviously, have access to the information, but it's not knowledge is power, it's applied knowledge is power. You have to apply it. I bet if we took inventory of this person's business, we might find out, like you said, one of multiple different, areas that they can improve, but at the same time, they may not be taking any action at all. And then they think that just because they're all in, and they did 2 blog posts in their first 30 days, that they should all of a sudden become rich. And I always say it's not what we do that makes us successful, it's what we do daily. And it's how we show up daily. I talked about it earlier, the consistency. Even little things, Tony, like you were talking about, even just adding a photo to your emails, right, to your broadcasts and your follow-ups, that personalizes you. That makes you real. That makes you human. It makes it really creates a connection. So little things like that. I mean, this is why being all in and taking massive action, showing up at the events. See, if you don't show up at events, if we don't get a chance to meet you in person, shake hands, exchange a hug, maybe break bread over a breakfast, lunch, or a dinner, or get together at any one of our team parties, if we don't get a chance to connect with you, then we don't really know you. Tony, I bet if I asked you, all the people that showed up at your team party back in January in Austin, and the same thing for Tracy and Nicole, I know for myself and Sophia, we now know these people, so when they call, when they email, when they contact us on Facebook, when they want to pop on a call for a kind of a marketing review, we met them in person. Why not? Why shouldn't we get on the phone and have a conversation? They're real people. They're just like us. We want to see you excel, so we're going to do everything in our power because we know that your success is our future. But again, just owning the products isn't enough. You have to take action. You got to be consistent. And you got to implement what you learn inside these products. I'll tell you right now, you put into effect what you learned in that 15K. By the way, I just got a 15K reminder for tomorrow night. If you don't have the 15K yet, you can be on tomorrow night's 15K formula with us live, have access to that live event, and then over the next 2 weeks, catch up to the rest of the team by going through a module every day to 2 days. There's, I think, 11 modules or 12 modules recorded. And you're going to need at least a day to 2 days to catch up to the rest of us. But if you don't have the 15K yet, buy it now because tomorrow night there's a live 15K training webinar, and you do not want to miss what's going to be shared on there. It's powerful, it's time sensitive, and it's going to get you in a position so that you no longer lack information, and by implementing what you learn there, you can actually take yourself to the next level. And I do want to talk about events quickly because I know that we're coming up on 2 hours here. And we have an event in like 62 or 63 days that is going to create some of the top earners in all of Empower Network. And I know where we were just 30 days ago. We were in Austin. What happened since Austin has been incredible. I just noticed in my Facebook group, one of my members just passed 50,000 in income. He's just a few months into the business. Silvio Fortunato, my guy Jason Brown. Just had his $9,000 day. He's had several $4,000 days. Still doesn't know what he's doing. He says this in his messages. He says, I still don't know what I'm doing. Everyone that comes out of events comes out with a whole new perspective on their business. They come out with a whole new belief level, and they start seeing their business differently, and they start seeing themselves and their potential differently. And this is where your success just goes through the roof. And I know that Chicago is just going to be absolutely incredible. There's going to be hundreds of people that come out of that event and generate their first 10,000, 25,000, 50,000, and 100,000 over the next 30, 60, 90 days. The question is are you going to be one of those people? I can't tell you how important it is that you get to the event, because even if you're kind of floundering right now and you haven't made any money, I guarantee you that you will never be the same again after you attend the Chicago Get Money event here in 63 days.
I totally agree with that, Aaron. And as we shifted into event mode, I think it's a great time to point out that when we even talk about being all in isn't just financially being all in. I mean, being all in is physically being all in, attending every single event. Being all in is mentally being all in, 100% focus forward, and all of your energy is going towards what you're doing in Empower Network. We're talking about being emotionally all in. When you're emotionally all in, there is nothing, there's no one, there's no event you wouldn't attend, there's no way you wouldn't do it. We've got people, all of us, that drive 20 hours, that sleep in cars, that sleep on cots in hotel rooms with other team members, that don't even have a hotel room when they get there. They go to other hotels, Super 8, Super 6, whatever it is, that is affordable and effective economically for them at that point, because they're emotionally all in and being literally spiritually all in. We had, in my opinion, the most spiritual movement that I ever witnessed in a business conference environment in Austin, Texas. It was literally, you know, for people that go to church and things like that, it was literally, guys, an altar call, right? Is what I grew up knowing it as, right? It was an altar call where we were literally, people were coming coming into the knowing of themselves, right? And what a beautiful thing. You just cannot experience that at home, watching the DVD or getting the recording. You guys agree, wouldn't someone have to be in the room in Chicago if anything to the magnitude takes place again like it took place in Austin? We literally saw lives change. I saw colors of faces shift. I saw people walk in there kind of confused, kind of shaky, coming out knowing precisely what their purpose in life is, how Empower can help to fuel that, having a certainty and a surety of what they're going to do when they get home, a belief system that was now rock solid. Being in Chicago, I just don't know how you could not want to be there, and then being all in all 5 ways. Collectively, essentially, is what can help you get there. So, Aaron, being in Chicago, it's like, how could you, it's ridiculous if you think you're going to make it happen and you're not going to be at the event in Chicago.
Well, can I interject here and just ask us to go around the room? Because, you know, I look at Aaron, Sophia, Tony, and you, Tracy, and we got a behind-the-scenes view from the preparation of the event to actually experiencing the event. And then all of you guys have been from Atlanta to San Diego to Austin. And you've been in different companies, but can you guys just share a little bit, starting with you, Aaron, like what you see as a difference in this event, you compare it to the other company events, but what happened in Austin significantly that you feel transitioned, not just our businesses and our incomes, but truly impacting people's lives?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I saw like nearly 100 people on stage that made over $10,000. Here's what really got me. This is what really got me. Okay, and a lot of you know that I've been around the industry for a couple decades, and I've seen a lot of really good companies come and go. I've seen a lot of big companies, seen a lot of startups, a lot of start downs, you know, shutdowns, a lot of companies over the years. And if you think about this, you know, Empower Network's now paid out what, $30 million in commissions, right? Guys, we're over 30 million. I think it's the numbers are, right? Now, we're a 100% commission company. Obviously, you know, that's no secret. If you look at the industry, if you look at network marketing, you know, in general, most companies don't pay out any more than, you know, maybe 40%. So, for example, a traditional multi-level marketing or direct sales company, for every dollar they take in, they pay back 40 cents on the dollar, right, to the field, and it's split, that 40 cents is split, you know, let's just say amongst, you know, 10 distributors, you know, that's 4 cents, you know, that are going back into those 10 distributors, like say in a downline, right, with an upline and a downline. So if a company paid out 50% commissions and it paid its members $30 million, right, in its first 14 months, that is equivalent to a traditional network marketing company that did $60 million that pays out 50% for the members to make 30. So we are on a very short list All right. In other words, Empower Network paying out $30 million in its first 14 months is equivalent to a traditional company, MLM, networking, direct sales, whatever, that pays out 50% that did $60 million. Now, if you try to figure out how many companies in our industry did $60 million in their first 14 months, I guarantee you we're on the short list of companies that could pay out that much income and have this much success, right? 100,000 paid members in 14 months. It's never happened before, and it'll probably never happen again, not in our lifetimes, not in my career, I'm sure. But I will say this, is that to have as many people that have made $10,000 in their business in just the first year hit that stage. I mean, there were almost 100 people up there. To be able to say that this company's done that much business in such a short amount of time, and we just came out of the womb, literally, just 6-7 months ago, because of all the challenges and all of the slowdowns and all the resistance that we got, right, with servers crashing, banks and merchant, banks that are trying to stop the company from taking off. If you think about it, we're really still in our first full year of actual uninhibited growth, or I guess you can say, without having the forces of evil, knocking at our door. Now, sure, there's other issues that have to be overcome all the time, but when you think about where we're going as a company and the size of this organization as quickly as it is, think about this now. We're going to be 5,000 strong in Chicago. Where are we going to be in a year from now? Where are we going to be in 3 years from now, 5 years from now? Where are you going to be? We're all going to be somewhere. The question is where do you want to be? Do you want to be where you are right now? Or do you want to be in a place of complete and total freedom? And not just financially, but I'm talking about personal freedom. I'm talking about relationship freedom. I'm talking about geographical freedom. I'm talking about, spiritual and emotional and mental and physical freedom, where you call the shots. There is nothing holding you back. You never have to worry about money ever again. You never have to worry about being someplace you don't want to be ever again. That's what this is all about. I saw it in Austin. The light bulb went on for me when I saw how many people made $10,000 per month. That is a benchmark. If you go look at a traditional company and you say, hey, gang, out of 4,000 people in the room, how many of you have made at least $25? You see 5% of the room stand up. Right? Our commission countdown showed 98% of the people stood up, and I'll tell you what, the other 2 or 3% that didn't stand up hadn't even joined yet. They were just big 6- and 7-figure earners that were out scouting to find out how quickly they can bring their teams over, and now they're coming in droves. I'll tell you what, old school, new school, it doesn't matter how you build this thing. If you don't build it, you're just blowing a huge opportunity. This is the best thing in our industry, and nothing I've seen comes close to this in 22 years. And it was Austin that really, the light bulb really went on for me, because I was just blown away by how big this is going to be.
Dude, I got to jump in real quick, because I'll be honest with you, and this is not necessarily the most enlightened position for me to have, but I'm a firm believer that if you're not around the business, you're not in the business.
Yeah.
The first time I went to an event, this was years ago, Jessica and I went to Dallas, Texas for an event. We went home and we had our first $40,000 month the next month. And it didn't come from having a big team at that event that got upgraded and all this other stuff. It shifted who we were being. It totally blew out our whole goal list, and it made us totally reassess what we had our hands on. Now that's a correct perspective. Here's the part that I think is a little, perhaps not necessarily very enlightened. I get a little perturbed sometimes, a little bit, when I see people squandering an opportunity. It not often, but sometimes it genuinely bothers me to see someone who, they deserve it. They deserve to be wealthy. They want to be wealthy. In some cases, they need to be wealthy, and yet they've got a Ferrari parked in the garage, so to speak, and they're only using it to run down to the convenience store to pick up a gallon of milk every now and then. You know, you got a racehorse in the stable, and all you're doing is letting him out to eat a little grain, and you put him back in the stable. So here's where I'm going with this. Empower Networks is awesome. I mean, it's unbelievable. Nothing else has ever existed like this. But I think we would be foolish and naive not to point out that we are in a very special window of opportunity right now, where if you're not going to play big right now, when would you ever start? Really? I mean, right now, we've barely scratched the scratch of the surface. But we're at a point where we're starting to see, I saw some of the same people at the event in Austin that Aaron did. I saw one guy come into my team party who's not in Empower Network, but he's stuck his head in the door. He makes about $10 million a year. And yet he wanted to take a look at what's going on over here at the hotel. You know, I saw other people who are not in Empower Network, but they were sort of, and I don't mean this in a disparaging way, they were just sort of sniffing around to see what's going on, because we've reached the point of credibility. Nobody's worried about whether this is going to, yeah, we have stood the test of time. But here's something else. I see Mike Filsame's name get tossed around this week. Apparently Mike Filsame has joined Empower Network. He's pretty big fancy pants internet marketer. Well, Jason Moffat's here. You know, Russell Brunson is here. Some of these guys, they're here, but they still haven't got their hands on yet what we're doing. They just know that they want to go ahead and lock in a spot, right? But here's where I'm going with this. In 10 years' time, these conversations are going to sound and be totally different. Okay? Hang on one second. I got to move my keyboard because my battery's about to go dead. I got to go over here and plug it up. Here's the point that I want to make. There will be a time very, very soon when, and I'm not talking about like some mythical time. I mean like in about a year's time, in about 1 year, Aaron and Sophia are going to be doing a team event for their extreme team. Let me get my head out of the way here. They're going to be doing a meeting for not the extreme team, for their team in Empower Network, and they'll have 10,000 people in the room. That'll happen. That's going to happen. See, here's something that got. You want to know what Chicago is? Let me tell you what Chicago is. Because it's not what you think it is. Anywhere else in network marketing, we would call Chicago a corporate event. You know, the company's doing an event, right? That's not what it is. Because David and David are affiliates in this business. They are affiliates. They don't make their money as company owners. They make their money as affiliates. You want to know what happened in Austin, Texas? Here's what happened. David Wood and David Sharp got together with their team. Now stop and think about this for a second. David Wood and David Sharp announced that they were going to have a team get together in Austin, Texas, and 4,000 people showed up. That's all that happened in Austin. That wasn't a convention. That wasn't a corporate event. It wasn't a conference. It was David and David as affiliates meeting with their downline. Okay? Now, let's extrapolate that out and look forward in time when Tracy Walker wants to get together with her team in about probably 18 months. Maybe I get to come speak. Maybe she'll give me an hour on stage one Saturday or something, right? Maybe I get to go and visit because Tracy's going to be doing a gig in New York or Manhattan, or maybe in her backyard there in Atlanta. And she's got 10,000 people in the room, and it's just her team. It's not an Empower Network event. It's just her team. And then Nicole's got a thing going on in Memphis, right? And there's 10,000 people on Nicole Cooper's team. Now, here's why I'm saying this. Because when you're all in, when you're not Mickey Mousing around with the inner circle and you're just dabbling and toeing the water, right? When you're committed to say, you know what, I'm going to do this or bust. You know, when you say I don't miss events, not being Chicago, I'd quit my job before I'd miss Chicago. Boss won't let you off. Hey, if you're serious about making a bunch of money this year, I would be the last person to tell you to go quit your job. But I'm just saying, if it was me, and if I truly believed that I was going to make $250,000 in Empower Network this year, why in the world would I keep a job that wouldn't let me get off work to go to Chicago for my real business? You know, This is about living on purpose. Now, I don't give personal advice like that, but here's my point. We are at a very special time in Empower Network right now, because in 5 or 10 years, you know, when Nicole Cooper is doing when she's got people on her team having their own 10,000 people events, and Nicole's the guest speaker on her team's events, you know, when in 1 year you got Aaron and Sophia in front of 10,000 people, and they're handing out their own big checks to people on their team. And when they say, how many people in the room have ever made a dime in Empower Network, and their audience has 95% of the people on their feed? When they have 100 people on their stage that's made at least $10,000 in a month, let me tell you something. You're going to be able to look back and say, I was there when that started. You're going to be able to look back and say, you know what? I wasn't lollygagging around. I wasn't just piddling with this thing. I was there in Chicago in 2013 when the light bulb came on, or I was on that webinar, the Hangout with the Masters that Tracy and Nicole threw together. When the light bulb came on and I realized this is not Grandpa's Amway business. This is not Grandma's Mary Kay business. This is not that thing I did with the fruit juice. This is something else. This is my time. This is my opportunity to go be everything that I said I always wanted to be in this industry. And this is the place to get it done. And the people that grab that vision and run with it, you will not only be in Chicago, you'll be in Chicago on your feet. Some of you, and you know who you are, some of you will be on stage with a check for $30,000. Some of you will be on stage with a check, or you'll show up in the room in Chicago having earned at least 20 grand, and you haven't made your first sale yet. That's what's possible. Now, I'm not saying everybody's going to go do that. People do what they choose to do. But I am saying there's some of you right now, there's some people that haven't even joined Empower Network yet that will be in Chicago getting a big check on stage. And there's no reason in the world that you can't create that story. But it's going to come from doing the stuff that we talked about tonight. It's going to come from adopting that mindset that you heard Sophia talking about. It's going to come from stepping up, taking ownership of your business, like Aaron talked about, getting that mindset that Tracy and Nicole have mentioned. It's going to take all of that and just get your foot off the damn brake. It's just going to be about playing full out, stepping up, being the leader, and settling for nothing less than 100%. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be a blast when we're all hanging out in Bora Bora somewhere, or we got our toes in the water down at the Turks and Caicos Islands, and we're looking at each other saying, remember that hangout? Remember that was the night that so many people seemed like the light bulb they just got it. That this was not just the right place to be, but it's a special time. And when you make powerful decisions at the right time, it just blows out all the possibilities. So I'm stoked. I mean, I hope you can hear it in my voice. I hope you can see it in my eyes. And it's the same thing. This is the being that we've been talking about all night. Can you see I got a little conviction here?
Yeah, you even have the light and the halo behind you, like you're
I
glowing.
was going to say you look like an angel.
Wait, hold on, watch this. Watch this.
When he's in the line.
The angel has spoken.
Seriously, could you? I mean, I could talk about this all night. I could go for hours on this just because I believe in this. I believe in the people that you've heard tonight. But guys, we believe in you. We believe in you. We have no financial interest in telling you something that's not true. If I didn't think you could do it, I absolutely would not invest my time. I mean, we're raising boys here. I got 3 sons. You know, we're teaching them to be honest, ethical people of integrity. We're a man factory at the Rush household. You know, we're raising men. So I can't have my boys walking around in the house with me talking about this stuff if I don't believe it. And I do believe it.
And you know, Tony, you talked about, you know, raising your boys. Something that changed my life at the Austin event forever was actually seeing in our team party, actually seeing a group of young people. We call them the young guns. As long as they're between 18 and 25, they're part of that particular group, the young guns.
What did you call them, the young guns?
The young guns. That's what
that is so cool.
And we brought them in front of the room, in front of the entire room. and gave them each, right, Nicole, a chance to share their story. And we're talking about 18 years old, okay, someone who drove all the way from New York by himself. We didn't even know he was on our team. He just happened to be sitting in the hallway one day, and someone asked him who his sponsor was, and that person realized that his sponsor was on our team. But these young people stood in front of this room of, you know, all these adults packed out wall to wall and stood there. They talked about how they can now see a purpose for their lives. Some of them felt like they were lying about what was possible in previous opportunities that they had, selling the dream but really living the nightmare. We talk about that a lot. Feeling like now they can honestly give people an opportunity where they can make money. Why? Because they've made their first $25 for real. And it's not a lie, and they feel good about it. To see people who were, you know, 20 years old with a third child on the way, knowing that Empower Network can, and that's Cesar Chavez, I believe, that they can actually build their Empower Network business to raise and take care of a wife and 3 children at 20 years old. To have a new expectant mother that's 18 years old, right? Knowing that she can work this business and not have to slave back and forth to some job and try to put in time for maternity and this and that and all the nonsense that so many women and mothers have had to deal with. Seeing a lot of the couples, we had young gun couples that now have a greater belief in them working together and doing what they want to do at home together to build something, not having to watch one go off to work while the other one, you know, stay at home and do whatever. And story after story after story, Tony, literally I watched these young people, and my entire outlook on why I thought I was doing this business completely changed. It completely changed. I knew I was doing it for a cause greater than me. I knew that it was, you know, more so I thought about helping like the average person get from point A to point B. But when I saw 18 to 25 stand up there, tears shed, lives literally change, I said, you know what? I'm doing this because it's this group of people that if there was nothing before now that could help them, I actually believe we have something now that can. And it is my duty to go out there and bust my butt. It's my duty to go out there and grind it out and get on every hangout that we can to help more people, to make sure that we actually get on that stage. Why? Because every time each of us get on that stage, another person will say, you know what? If he or she can do it with their story and their background and their struggles and all of their challenges, I know that I can do it too. Getting to that event, and I was, you know, a leader. I was going anyway. I was going anyway. It wasn't even about I just got to get there. I was going anyway. But even someone like that could go with one intention and walk out the door with a completely different intention. It set things on fire for me here every single day that I go to work now. And my goal is to help literally as many, not just young people, but they were the catalyst to help me realize the power of what we had here at Empower Network. You have got to get to Chicago. Your life can change. We saw it.
I like what Aaron said a minute ago. He's talking about something else, but he said, and I did it as though my life depended on it, because it actually did. I mean, this is just our lives we're talking about. I mean, it's just about whether or not you create a legacy. It's just about whether or not you can afford to do what you want to do. It's just about whether or not you have to trade time for. I mean, this really is. It's just our lives we're talking about. You know, it's this ability to create the life you deserve, and stop buying all the excuses for why it can't happen now. You know.
Yeah, you know what, Tony, I'll tell you real quick, and I'm sure we're going to hear from Sophia and Nicole before we wrap up. You know, for me, it was never about the money. You know, it wasn't about the money. It was about the freedom. It was about being able to do what I wanted to do, when I wanted to do it, with whom I wanted to do it with. And, you know, I saw my dad grow a company when I was a kid, and he had, you know, he made a lot of money. He was in coffee distribution. But he didn't ever really have a lot of time, and he spent a lot of time on our family trips in a phone booth. And I remember standing outside of a phone booth waiting for my dad for like an hour on a ski trip he took us on. And, you know, I just knew that I wanted to own my own business one day because I was around him and his business, and I loved the entrepreneurship and my dad. But I didn't want to be tethered, you know, to a company or a business, or, you know, to have a large company where, you know, if I didn't show up, my business didn't grow, my business couldn't be profitable. And so for me, I just wanted the freedom of you know, choice and being able to do, you know, what I wanted to do, and it had nothing to do with the money. Now, I remember when I was 24 years old, 25 years old, I was living in San Diego, California. I drove cross country to go pursue my dreams of entrepreneurship, right? I wanted to move to the West. I grew up on the East Coast in New York, lived in Baltimore, Maryland for 6 years, and I moved out West back in 1994, or 95, I'm sorry. I was 24 years old. And I moved out there because I was just in pursuit of the American dream. You know, I wanted to live in, you know, a different location that I was raised in, and I just wanted to feel the you know, what it was like to be free. You know, not be, you know, confined to a job and confined to an income, a salary, and certain hours I had to work and so forth. And so I moved out West, and I remember my dad came out to visit me my first, you know, holiday season. It was Christmas, and I had just quit my job working at the gym because I was doing the same thing I had been doing for 6 years before. I realized that was the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing and expecting different results. So I quit my job at the gym. I didn't have any more income. I was living on credit cards. I was almost out of credit. I didn't have, you know, any money saved. I was already living off credit cards, so I didn't have an income. I had no savings, and I had no car. I just totaled my car. So I was actually riding a bicycle, and I was just, you know, praying to get back on my feet, and then my bike got stolen, so I found myself back on my feet because I had to walk everywhere. But I wound up sitting on this car. I remember my dad saying, "Son, you have no job, you have no income, you have no credit, you don't even have a car." And I just looked at my dad and I said, "You know what? I don't care. I don't need a car. I don't need a job. I don't need credit. I don't need a car, you know, income, because I have a dream." I had this dream that I saw myself living the life that I chose. And here I am now, you know, 20 years later, right? Almost 20 years later. It's 2013, so 19 years later, or maybe 18 years. And I still never had a job. I still never had to report to an office. I don't have a boss. Well, except for Sophia, of course. But I don't have, you know, I don't have anybody to really answer to. And it allows us, and I'm just teasing when I say that, because we have our, you know, we both live the same type of lifestyle. We have so much flexibility. We can pick up and go when we want. We can take vacations and travel and do the things that we want. And the money in the bank is in the wake of everything else that comes by becoming personally free. When you set yourself personally free and you free yourself of the mind, or free your mind of all the thoughts and all the clutter and the chatter that keeps most people just chasing their tail, running in circles, you first have to become personally free to become financially free. And when the noises of the mind are quieted, I said this from stage in Austin, the true symphony begins. When you learn how to keep your mind quiet, and when you learn how to be comfortable with yourself and just be with you and be with who you are and not worry about what everybody else thinks of you. I always say that the day I was freed from this, you know, bondage was the day that I quit getting offended, looking for things to be offended by and taking things personally and worrying about what everybody else thought of me. Because I realized that while everybody was worried about what, you know, everyone else thought of them, nobody was thinking about them because they were worried about the other people were thinking of them, and it was just a big, you know, mental masturbation. And, you know, when you set yourself free here, the money comes so easily. It allows you to express yourself. And I'll tell you right now, what we get paid for in this business is simple. We get paid for teaching people how to express themselves and get paid for their ideas. So when you understand that, and when you put that to good use and put it into effect, there's nothing you can't achieve with this business as a vehicle. There's nothing you can't achieve. You want to create better relationships, you want to create more friendships, you want to create more alliances and have a stronger support system and a network, build yourself, build your business, and the money will come. And the best part about it is that it's 100% commissions. So that's all I got to say on this one, guys.
I just want to add one thing, and then Sophia, we need to hear from you. You're so quiet.
I'm just being.
You're just being, right? But I just, in addition to what Aaron is saying, I think what we've realized, like he's saying, money is really easy. Guys, what happens and what has happened for all of us is we stopped chasing money and we started attracting it. And that's a significant difference, where people are like, well, this isn't working for me. Why isn't it working? There's a repelling going on there. There's some resistance going on there that's repelling your success. And when I heard Tony and Aaron talking, the first thing that came to mind for me were two words that you guys must get familiar with, and you must make the essence of yourself, your business, and your journeys. But it's conviction and influence. Conviction and influence. When you are convicted, you have conviction about what you do. When it's so deep to the core of who you are that it compels you to move and take action, and you eat, breathe, and sleep that desire, it creates conviction. And when you're so convicted about what it is that you're doing, you create a level of influence where people they're sold because you're so convinced that where you're going, I say convicted, when you're so convinced about where you're going, it's going to make a significant difference in how people respond to you. Because we're talking about 15K here, guys, and we're talking about making money, that's what a lot of you want to get to. And when we talk about being able to make money, guys, you have to make yourself valuable in the eyes of others where they want to be around you and they're willing to exchange their money with you. And that comes from you having a level of conviction and being so convinced about what it is that you're doing that they're drawn to you and they're willing to spend money with you. And then you have to be influential. You cannot be influential and wavering. I was actually reading the Bible this morning. I think it was in Matthew where he talks about you have to be either hot or cold. You got to make a decision. You can't be moving with the waves of the wind. Wherever it goes, you go. A lot of us are so indecisive. And Tony addressed the guy who was like, this isn't working for me yet. In your heart of hearts, you're waiting for that moment and excuse to quit. And that's not enough to influence anybody to join you, because if you're ready to quit, people can sense that, and that's why they won't join up with you, because they don't know if you're going to be around long enough after they join, to really see them succeed. And so I just want to put that out there, stop chasing money, and you'll start attracting it by implementing these principles. That's why you guys hear mindset and motivational stuff, but when you start implementing the principles and things that we're teaching you, the tactics, the strategies, the skills, you find one or two key marketing streams and you start actually implementing those things. Because a lot of you guys don't realize where me and Tracy started. Me and Tracy, honestly, I think, Tracy, you can probably agree, we're probably just now really learning about internet marketing. We're just learning about metrics and tracking. Like Dave and them was like, why we need a tracking system? Who tracks? We never spent money on paid advertising. We just did a bunch of videos and put a bunch of posts on Facebook. We were ignorance on fire. We had no idea. You want to know a bunch of strategy? Turn on your camera like we have here. You saw Beyonce, whole thing was her and her computer. Just talk to your computer. That's what we did, right, Tracy? We just talked to our computer a lot. Any idea, anything we tried, any book we bought, any strategy we implemented, we were like on YouTube telling people about it. And all of a sudden, we had this huge following, and me and Tracy was like, we in the top 35, and we ain't spent no money on marketing.
That's great.
We're not doing so bad right here, And when people want to know what we did, we just post up on Facebook like Tony Rush does all the time, I mean, guys, this is not complicated, but it's being convicted in what you do, being convinced about what you do, and being influential. And then you start attracting money and you stop chasing it, because we are just, Tracy talking about programming and stuff. We're so delighted about this page y'all looking at, because we're like, we got a professional to do this. We
really are. It is really out of control about this page right now.
Yeah, we were giving each other high fives today on the Google Hangout when we were wrapping up the site today. Like, we got a real professional page.
Hey, I got to tell you, when Tracy sent me the link and said, here's where we're going, I was like,
whoa.
Man, I would step up my game. Look at this page. Nobody's going to want to come to my stuff anymore.
Well, you know what? And let me just say this real quick, because me and Tracy laughed about it today. It took us a $12,000 investment between me and her to get access to the person who can now do all the things we want to do to take our marketing to the next level. We talked about that. We invested $6,000 each with a guy who mentored us, and we now have access to his programmer and developer who is amazing, but he would never market online to service his business. So now we have access to that person. And we said, you know, it's the investments of getting access to those relationships. So I just want to throw that out there, guys. It pays to invest in your friends. Go buy you some new friends.
Is that Aaron or is that Tony?
That's Aaron.
It's Aaron.
Look, I got a countdown. They turned on the music to kill my speech, so.
Oh, no.
Womp womp. Okay, I'll shut up.
You know what you were saying about, you know, mindset? For those that are watching this that are saying, like that gentleman who's like, it's not my mindset, or for those of you that out there that are resisting, that this is all about mindset. This is all about energy, and what you put out there is what you're going to get back. For all of you that are resisting, that's what you're attracting. And that's what you should be looking at. Why are you resisting it? Well, that's what you're attracting. This is why you are where you are in your business. We're all exactly where we're supposed to be. And so when you're resisting it, that's what your leads, your prospects, anyone that you come across are thinking as well. They're going to resist as well. So, and back to Nicole, you had a good that question about the event in Chicago. What really is huge for me is always just the heart of a company. We've talked about a lot of things here, and Dave, and we know how good these guys are, and just where their hearts are. But you know, I've never been to an event where, and I just love the idea that they auctioned all of our time to the highest bidders. They had professional auctioneers come in and had over 4,000 people bid for all of our time, which raised almost $70,000 in just 1 hour. $70,000 in just 1 hour to give to Habitat for Humanity. And to me, that is so huge. And the fact that you know, everyone was willing to give the time and say, oh, what can I do? What can I give? You know, and so that we could give back. And the company matched the money there. So that was absolutely huge. Never seen anything. It was a lot of fun. The event in itself was just an absolute blast. I mean, if you're somebody that loves to party and loves to have fun, you talk about, you never see anything like this, where you've got a third of the attendees they're in the back of the room, and they end up in the front of the room in front of everybody else. I just, that was incredible. And you know what, just really just the heart that's there. I mean, to see people that are there that are finally able to just make their first $25 online just so they could pay a little bit towards their utility bill or put food on the table. I mean, let's not even talk, you know, right now, no, let's not even talk about the 10 grand right now. Let's just talk about the achievements that people were able to do just so they could get through a daily, a minute by minute situation in their life, where they could just put a meal on the table, where they could just pay the utility bill, where they could just get gas for their car, where they could just make their first car payment, you know, the car payment with the money they made here in Empower, where they got to making this money, and because they had the confidence to make their first $25, now they know they can make their first $250, their first $2,500, their first $25,000. I mean, just to be able to pay their mortgage, you know, and not get to the point where they were going into foreclosure. I mean, just the stories, like Aaron said, over 95% of the room was making money. And you know what happens is, when you make that and you can create that kind of money for yourself, and you are able to pay your utility bill, you're able to put food on the table, you're also contributing to someone else's life. You're not just contributing to your own life. Now you are contributing to the utility company's life, an employee there, because now they're able to keep their job because you sent in the money to pay for the bill. You went and supported that business. It is all about universal paying forward and receiving and giving back. So every time that you think, oh, I can't come up with the money, this is what you're going to get back. This is what you're going to get back. When you're putting it out there that you are giving and you're giving, and you know what we do in my house? Every time I write a check for our bills, and yeah, guys, I still do it old school. I don't do it online. I write a check purposely because before I send that envelope out the door, I kiss these bills, or kiss any check that I write, and I bless the company and the employees that are going to receive it so that they can continue to do what they do and provide a valuable service, not just for us, but also feed their families. And so, you know, this is just continuous blessings. Even if you can do philanthropy in this very small way by just taking care of little daily things, it's all about giving back and then receiving the same way. So whenever you think about that, just keep that in mind. We manifest very easily, and people talk about manifestation. You should know you easily manifest whatever you want into your life, anything that you want into your life, and as long as you continue to bless, the universe will be blessing back to you.
Well, on behalf of all of the teams represented here tonight, I believe Aaron and Sophia, the All-In team, and Nicole Cooper is AIG, Automated Income Group, and Tony Rush is the Extreme team, and we have the Dream team. On behalf of everyone who is in attendance from all of these wonderful teams, thank you. Thank you so much for spending literally 2.5 hours with us. And it seems like time absolutely flew by so fast. Tony, Aaron, Sophia, and Nicole, again, thank all of you as well, because time and sacrifices are always made away from our families and things of that sort this time of the evening. But I believe that in the truest sincerity of all of our hearts, we believe truly that our time we are pouring into the people that have chosen to work with us directly, and that it is only of the betterment of the group that we're even here. All of you that attended, all the wonderful comments, I've been looking at Facebook and everywhere. I mean, everyone has absolutely loved this interaction that we shared here tonight. They love the pages, Aaron and Sophia and Tony, of all the things that we're working on. Prime example, we're all growing, right? And we're all expanding, and we're tapping into things that that we know can help make us better. And we've talked about the importance of the 8 core commitments. Maybe you didn't hear it precisely in stair-step order, but we talked about every last one of the core commitments. We talked about the importance of being all in. If you're not, you need to log in and actually do what you need to do and get all in. We talked about the Inner Circle audios and how they're changing lives. We talked about the master's course and literally catapulting your business from one segment to another and having that higher level training. We talked about the blogging and the skill sets, even if it's just a customer, how valuable those things are. And we talked about everything that you need to do to make at least $15,000 a month. If you haven't gotten any of that information tonight, I don't know what the hell you were looking at, because we've been here for 2.5 hours strong about those core things. So guys, we're going to let everyone go for the night. Make sure that you get back with your leaders. I know Tony's got some things coming up with a team event, I think out here in Atlanta. I think it's on the same day we're doing it.
I know. I was going to ask Tracy if she wanted to come down to the Hyatt to stick her head in the door, and she's like, I'm actually got a thing going that day.
So everybody on the Extreme Team and Dream Team and whatever's going on, if you're in Atlanta, find one, okay, and get your tail to it. Then we're just going to all fly out to Denver, essentially, on Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, and we're going to have a big event at Aaron and Sophia's house.
Well, you better come. We're having our team mastermind here, actually, in a week from tomorrow, and then we have a 2-day training and in the office training. So we've got 22 members on our team coming out here to our house in about 10 days.
Tracy?
One of your team members, Aaron, told me that he's going to be driving, I think 22 hours, a truck driver. He's going to be driving 22 hours or something to get to your in the office event.
Oh, yeah.
Lord,
Hey, Tracy.
the loyalty, yes.
Tracy, me and you and Nicole, you know he wouldn't turn us away. We ought to show up on Aaron and Sophia's doorstep one
I'm
day.
serious.
And be like, do y'all have something in your fridge?
We'll roll out the red carpet for you, Tony.
We can pick one of the houses to stay in. I know they got a place to sleep.
I give you my massage chair, Tony. That's all
I just want to take my shoes off and put them at that front door. That's all I want.
The last we would have with that.
And drink some of your junk juice.
That's right.
But we've got exciting things going on. And ladies and gentlemen, please do not forget to stay plugged in. Empower Hour every single Monday night. We've got the retake of the 15K every Thursday night. And of course, our team things that I believe each of us do on Wednesday nights, essentially. And any random live stream that Dave and Dave may throw in the bucket at any given time. Just stay plugged in, stay committed. I look forward to seeing all of you on stage in Chicago. Thank you so much, and you guys have a super awesome, prosperous night. Bye.
Hey, thanks a lot, everybody.